Hello, I'm Coda Massaquoi, Cyan of Bastet.
Hi, I'm Damien Gerard, and I'll be playing Kris Strom.
Hello, I'm Gary, and I'll be playing Oliver Bright, Scion of Ogma.
And I'm Cyan. I'm playing Sarah Baxter, the Scion of Vidar.
And I'm Bloodied Porcelain. I'll be your storyteller this evening. Good evening, players. Where last we left off, you all had spent some time in Anvil with the dwarves. You had received your birthrights. Some of you had finally met your divine parents. Some of you got to meet other gods altogether. You got to see your old friend Teddy. Sarah got tipped off to the idea that there may be, possibly, someone who could help with bringing Teddy back. And you were pointed in the direction of a seer, a Sybil, who lives in the forests and mountainous regions around Georgia. And told that, well, any good story in the epics starts with a trip to the Oracle. You left Anvil, and while you were on the road, you stopped off at a roadside motel and were sleeping soundly when you were attacked by more of those huge, nearly car-sized wolves and a mysterious stranger. Kris and Oliver had a moment of horrifying brilliance where they combined their Kris's skill with a bow and Oliver's creative thinking to explode several cars and blow up one of the wolves. Another one nearly died, and the remaining forces managed to get away with the help of this woman who seems to at least know who Sarah is, based on the way she threw her name around. Having set off an explosion, fought for your lives, and left rather large wolf-sized holes in the walls of the motel, you all piled into your car and sped off into the night. And that's where we will be picking up. Because the chat has already noticed. Yes, I am sick. I apologize. I'm not going to sound amazing tonight, but I could not leave this for another week. I missed you all and this story far, far, far too much to let it go again.
And we missed you.
Aww. I hope you are prepared for what is coming. So, picking up where we left off, what were you... What would you guys have done after the big fight?
Well, assuming we drove our way out of there as quickly as possible, I'll kind of take a look around throughout the windows, get a surveillance of our surroundings and before turning back. And so, should we talk about what just happened back there?
What exactly is there to talk about? And as she's driving, Sarah will have pedal to the metal.
Well, for starters, the wolves attacked us again, although this time we did far better, but there was also that woman, and she seemed to have at least some kind of alliance with them, if not outright controlling them. I don't know what that was about, and she seemed to have known you?
Yeah, I don't know what that's all about.
She did something to my head. She made me not want to fight. It was weird.
Strange.
Yeah, but
Also,
we kicked their ass.
right, but she gave a command and they all left. I don't think there's a question in my mind that she was controlling them.
I wonder what they wanted. I assume to attack us, gauge how we've progressed so far, but other than that, I'm not sure. They didn't commit fully. They pulled back when things started seeming dire.
It felt more like they were probing us.
Yes, exactly. I feel like if they come for us again, we might be facing more of them, or they'll be supercharged in some way, or just in general more powerful.
So shouldn't we be extra careful then if we're about to head to this seer person?
Yes, and I'm glad you brought that up, Miss Massaquoi, because I'm going to reach into my satchel and pull out 4 of the glass vials that I bought, or I guess 3 of them, and pass one out to each one of them. I got this idea after our first time encountering the wolves. I think it might be a good idea to fill each one of those vials up with your own blood. Therefore, if we're ever being chased and you have a moment, you could throw it, it would shatter, and your scent would be on the floor or the wall, and then you run the opposite direction and then potentially confuse whatever's chasing you and buy a bit of time. It's not the best precautionary measure, but it's one.
Yeah, I'll do it. It worked last time.
Okay. Why not?
And if not, you at least have a glass vial now that you can do as you please with.
So I have a question, and she's gonna look at Kris and Oliver. What was that explosion of the cars?
We blew a car up.
We blew 3 cars up.
And one of those dogs, wolves, excuse me. Dogs.
Yeah.
Canines.
So we need to start doing that more. And then she's gonna look at Sarah, and you got them to just stop moving. You just said sit, and then it sat.
I suppose it did.
Guys, we're badass.
We did far better than the first time.
Mm-hmm. No deaths, knock on wood.
No. Knock on wood. I don't think this car has any wooden upholstery on it, although.
Although, one thing I do want to bring up, we need to find a way that we can talk to each other during situations like this. Because I was able to scout the area which is crazy. I was able to scout the area through the moon, but I was able to let Sarah know what was happening, but if we're ever in a circumstance like this, how do I talk to you guys? Should I call you? We need something if we're going to be a group, team, clan, band of super-powered demigods, Scions.
Has anyone had the revelation that they have some sort of Scion mind hub telepathy something or other?
Not yet.
Or we could just get a set of radio earbuds.
That works.
We could do that as well.
We could stop somewhere and pick it up.
Yes, and until then, I suppose our phones could also do the trick. But radios sound far more secure.
Cool.
Until then, though, I do agree with Miss Massaquoi. We did very well there, and that is cause for celebration. So, I pose that we listen to Call of the Wild by Jack London for the rest of the journey.
You know what?
Don't make me turn this car around.
You know, I said this because I knew Miss Massaquoi would be on my side with that book. It's a very good one.
I agree. You know what? Actually, I agree only if you say that we kicked ass.
We kicked Heine.
No.
We kicked butt.
No.
We kicked...
No. We kicked ass, dude. Just say it.
Yeah, think of an old-timey way of saying donkey. We kicked...
We kicked ass.
Yes! Let's
we
go!
go.
Oh,
Yeah.
I could die happy now.
I still haven't set the F1.
Yeah,
You
well,
will.
Yeah.
you gotta start somewhere.
We'll see about that.
Yes, we will.
She's gonna high-five Kris.
Yeah, definitely.
This weird little family road trip of yours. So where are you guys? Are you guys gonna go find another place to stop for the night, or are you just, now that you're up and moving, you're gonna keep going? What's the plan?
How much sleep did we get before we were abruptly awoken?
Not a ton, a few hours at most.
We should probably find somewhere else to stop then to fully rejuvenate, but do you think they would go for us again? Should we risk another
Yes.
motel, or should we maybe find somewhere to pull off into the woods or something and make camp around the car? Wouldn't be as safe as stopping at a motel, but we wouldn't put other people in danger if we were to.
I think we should keep going, but anyone who's not driving should get some sleep.
Yeah,
Agreed.
I don't mind
Okay.
being a navigator.
I'll take over in an hour, Sarah.
And then I will switch as navigator as well in an hour or so.
All right. I'll probably try to stop for gas then too, so we can stay as efficient as possible as we head down to our location.
All right.
Right.
Great.
Okay. Sarah,
Yes,
you have invested into epic stamina, have you not?
I have. Yes.
Do you have any of the ones that specifically make it so that you can stay up longer and things?
No.
All right. Well, then that sounds like this is the time for a roll. What do you think?
I agree.
I think we're gonna do stamina and resolve.
Can I help her since I'm being her navigator?
I will give you an extra. How are you helping precisely? Because that'll tell me how many dice she's gonna get out of this.
She's kind of like playing like music and then talking about the music that's happening, and she's like, "Oh, well, I haven't heard this before, and I haven't heard that before," and
Okay. It's also it's not resolve, it's fortitude. I
Okay.
just forgot the word.
Where's resolve?
Wrong
can't find
system. Wrong system. That's what that was. That's your storyteller plays too many games.
so she's just talking.
Okay, so stamina and fortitude will give you an extra die.
Okay.
And don't forget that you get an automatic success for every epic stamina dot you have.
Okay. Then it's 4 plus 2, so 6 success.
Excellent. You are good then. So do you bring the speed down as you guys get further away and you're a little less on edge, or are you continuing to pedal to the metal the whole time?
As we've gotten further away from the motel, she'd try to normalize out and just keep an eye out for anyone that might be following them. But it's dark, so she's staying at the speed limit on the highways.
Okay.
So that no hidden cops can try to pull them over.
Sounds good. All right. given how well you rolled, I'm not going to make you do like a drive check or anything like that. You've got this under control. You're not driving crazily through crowded streets or anything like that. Coda is doing a phenomenal job of being just annoying enough. She's like that overexcited little sister. You know, it's endearing, but also, oh my god. After about an hour or so, unless you two have something you want to talk about, we'll move on.
Not really.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I think it's just random banter.
Yeah.
It's about, we're gonna say it's about 45 minutes into this drive, and you guys are getting to the point where you need to pull off for gas, because you had planned on getting gas in the morning after your slep. You guys, or I should say, Coda, your phone beeps in your pocket.
She'll check it.
It is a text from Net. Hey, I know it's the middle of the night, and I'm sorry if I'm waking you up. Some shit went down here. I'm gonna be away dealing with stuff and helping Kareem, and the others. I don't know how long we'll be, but if you need something, text me and I'll do my best. Don't tell Oliver, he seems like a worrywart.
She'll text back. Cool beans. We just kicked some wolves' butts. We're still alive though. Stopping to get some snackies. Stay safe. And then like a smile emoji.
There's a pause, and then you get, oh shit, you two.
Yeah, and some chick with knives. Didn't catch her name though.
Huh. No chick here, some weird guy though.
And she'll hold out the part. That's weird, but then again, all of this is weird. Huh. Well, did they command the puppers? Multiple question marks?
Yeah, he did.
Okay, well, same here. Although we killed one of them, and then the other one was about to die, but then they escaped. Or they ran away, I guess. Question mark, question mark, question mark.
Yeah, I couldn't catch mine either. Be safe. Keep moving when you can. And keep me up to date. I'll do what I can if something goes down.
Cool beans. Stay safe too. Gotta fight you later. All right, bye.
Just and then you get another message that's just FYI, if you guys come back to Baltimore, don't go to the safe house. Not a safe house anymore.
Multiple question marks, and then like a barf emoji, and then cool, got it.
And then that's the last thing you get from her.
Okay.
And that's about the time you guys pull into the gas station. And Kris and Oliver are probably woken up by the glare of fluorescent lights cutting through what has been a reasonably quiet and dark drive.
Oh, where are we?
Gas station.
How far did we go?
About 60 miles.
Okay. Let me just go and get a can of Coke or something to wake up, and I'll be good to go.
Okay, I'm gonna grab some extra gas canisters while we're here and stick them in the trunk.
Yeah. Let me get some caffeine for everybody, and candy and sugar highs and all that sort of shit.
Can you get a can of tuna too?
I mean, if they sell it here, sure.
Cool, thanks.
They probably have the packets.
I will go in with you. I want to see if they have any roadmaps, potentially.
Oh, good call.
Kris gets kind of like passing like touch with Mr. Cat's paw for where he's sitting on Coda, like draped around the back of Coda's neck. Kind of a like, thank you, mortal.
I'll nod at him solemnly as if a shared conversation has just happened.
So Kris and Oliver head inside. Does anybody want to do anything or have any conversations while the party is kind of broken up?
Sure. While we're sort of shopping and just browsing various shelves for sugary crap to put in our systems to wake up, I'll just kind of speak with Kris. So, about those pointers on how to, and just kind of give a small little punch in the air.
Yeah.
We don't have to go fully into it now, but in case something jumps out at us again, I would just a tip or two on how to not break my fist immediately.
Well, do you know how to make a fist? Like, properly make a fist?
See, I always assumed you just sort of curl the fingers in like so.
Yeah, kinda, but you gotta tighten everything up. And I'll grab hold of your hand and kind of pull your fingers in a bit more and put your thumb in the right place so that it really feels solid.
Right, okay. Got it.
So if you have your fingers kind of loose, you're gonna break them. So everything's got to be tight.
All right. I'm not sure if the muscle capacity for that yet, but I'll work on it. At least not to do it for long periods of time.
Yeah. You want to get hold of one of those grip tighteners. If we can find like a sporting goods shop, something like that.
Oh, like the ones where you, it's got the two handles and you just squeeze it?
Yeah. You can find a Big Five or something. They'll have something.
All right. I'll do it so long as we're on the road. It's not like I can get into the gym or anything.
Yeah. And then next up, I'll teach you how to throw from the shoulder and make sure you don't break fingers when you hit.
Great. Sounds wonderful. Thank you, Kris.
Yeah, no problem. Now, where's the tuna section going to be over here?
I don't know. This is a gas station. If they sell tuna, I mean,
it's a convenience store. They've got tuna. You don't know how old the tuna is, but they've got it. They've got little cans of it on the shelf.
I wouldn't eat it for ourselves, but so long as we don't tell Mr. Cat about the conventions of buying fish from a convenience store, I'm sure they won't notice or care.
What's worse than gas station fish?
Gas station sushi?
Ooh, okay, you got me beat.
I mean, it's the same thing, but there's also rice and old seaweed, so...
Yeah. Damn, I want some sushi now, too.
We should not risk it. It would be a bad idea to risk it.
It would, you're right. I will pick up, 4 or 5 cans of tuna if I can find it, though.
Yeah, no, that's easy enough. You basically clean them out of their very small supply of tuna, which gets you a weird look when you guys check out, because I imagine that it's like a pile of soda and energy drinks and candy and then 5-6 cans of tuna.
Yeah.
And then also road maps.
And road maps, yes. Okay. You guys make it back out to the car. While they were in there, Coda, Sarah, anything? Or shall I move on?
Nope, just keeping an eye out for any possible
ambushes,
new attacks, any of that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Coda is kind of waiting. She wants to have like a little convo with Mr. Cat, but every time she goes to do it, like someone is awake, so she'll just kind of be like, "Never mind."
I mean,
So
you can talk to him without talking out loud.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay,
You could talk to him the same way he talks to you.
cool. Okay.
You just can also talk to him like you're talking to other people, which just makes you look crazy.
Copy. I think Coda has not realized this yet, so I think this may happen while they're driving back by accident.
Okay, cool. All right, so the boys get back, the car gets gassed up, gas cans get filled, snacks and things are handed out. Mr. Cat is given a can of tuna, and Sarah, Coda, and Mr. Cat end up in the back seat while the boys take over the drive.
I'd like to point out, I don't have any of the fun can or anything like that. I have like the boring like saltwater taffy, things like that. Stuff everyone else does not want.
The most beige of beige squad foods.
Mm-hmm, of course.
Good lord. Okay.
Shake my head.
even his food is beige.
Happily eat my Skittles and Starburst.
Love it. Okay. You
Oh.
guys.
Let's say, oh, we got Werther's caramels. Excellent.
Oh no.
Oh, well, those are good. So
I got
I mean,
those
they
for
are
you.
good. Jesus Christ.
Thank you.
Oliver, I got those for you just to go along with the suede patches for your elbows.
Appreciate it.
I love everything about this. Oliver is the old man of the group.
Young old man.
Old soul. You guys get back on the road. Coda, Mr. Cat is accepting of the tuna, but does not seem enthusiastic. It's like, well, I suppose given the circumstances, this is the best that can be done. So it's a lot of like, he'll nom down and then just sort of settle into your lap.
I think while she's kind of watching like the streets are going by, she's trying to doze off, but she's also very used to being awake at night. And she's kind of thinking to herself, she's like, I can't keep calling him Mr. Cat. He's like some kind of gift for my godly mom, so I can't just keep calling him Mr. Cat.
He's also right here, Coda. You hear in your head.
She'll look down at him and then like raise her eyebrow and go, you can hear me? Not actually say that, but like think it.
Yes. Not all the time. But when you're not paying attention and you focus your thoughts on me, I can hear them.
Huh. Okay, well, I should take a note of that, because I don't want you to hear everything that I think about you. Not that I think bad stuff about you, I'm just kind of... do you hate being called Mr. Cat?
I am accepting of whatever name you give me.
That's not the answer I want. I want, like, okay. I was thinking about a couple of names, and I was like, oh, well, I mean, I don't know if you know if Bastet named me Coda, which is kind of ironic because it's like the end of a piece of music, or like end, I think, or I don't know, I don't exactly know, but you know, it's like
I have not asked her, and she did not tell me.
Okay, well, I figured maybe I'll name you something that has to do with music, but it just didn't fit. I don't know. Were you a stray cat that just got taken in by her, or were you like a kitten when you were picked up by her?
I have known her since I was a kitten.
Uh-huh.
I was not a stray. He'll kind of look at himself. I have excellent breeding.
Right. Well, I don't know. I've been thinking, you know, that you're, I guess, if things go well and long that, you know, it's going to be me and you, ride to die, hopefully. Hopefully not the dying part. And I was kind of figuring that you might be a part of my family. So I kind of want something that'll make you sound like you're my family. So,
Well, then you will need to get off of your ass and pick a name.
I was getting there. This one she actually does say out loud, but then she'll look around and be like, I was
Mr. Cat just yawns.
I was thinking, okay, so my family, well, the family I thought I had, they're, you know, Liberian, and I didn't really know too much about the Egyptians, but I know we're from the Pele tribe. And I, you know, I was born in America, so when I'm with people from the Pele tribe, or if I see them here, then I'm not Pele. But then when I'm here in America, I'm not American. But then I didn't have parents, so I'm an orphan. But then technically I did have parents, and so I'm not really an orphan. And now suddenly, oh, I'm not really human, I'm Cyan. But at the same time, I'm not really in the midst of this, so I'm still like a new baby Cyan. So
while your brain is babbling and going through this long drawn out diatribe, a paw just reaches up and like sets itself on your lips, even though you're not physically talking.
yes.
You're Egyptian and a Scion. You are above royalty.
Okay.
And you are a daughter of Bastet, and I would not want her hearing you talk about yourself like that.
But it's the truth, and I get
No, it is your perception.
But I get my strength from that. I know I don't belong anywhere, so I make my own space, and that's where my strength comes from. Me building myself up, not
something that you claim is you building yourself up. A lot of it is awful based on other people.
Whatever.
You are who and what you are, Coda Massaquoi. Whether other people see that or not does not matter.
Yeah, I know. Whatever. I don't know. I wanted to call you Pele because I think it'd be cool. Because
I like that name.
Okay. And I'll maybe try to
Pele
get
a soccer player?
Yeah. But then the Pele tribe in Liberia is Kpelle, but Pele was also a soccer player. But it's nice because
it is a high status name.
Yes.
I accept.
Okay.
This is worthy of me.
Of course it is. Well, cool. Thank you for your words, then. Pele. And she'll scratch his head.
That is nice.
And she'll sit back and start to relax a bit.
As you are sitting back and sort of scritching at him, you catch a little bit of movement out of the corner of your eye, and as you glance down at his collar, the little tag on the collar, you watch in real time as the name Pele writes itself across the tag in beautiful script.
She'll smile and then close her eyes to actually try to get some sleep.
Perfect. All right. Any discussions that need to happen between the boys in the front seat, or shall I move us along?
I'll probably just ask Oliver if he's got the map on where we should go, but that's about it. I
haven't pulled out to get a sip of my LaCroix, because I'm not drinking soda, of course.
Of course.
Just, make sure we have the right map to where we're going and play navigator.
Excellent. Okay, so we're gonna skip forward a little bit. It's a bit of a haul to get where you're going. Ellison's Cave is located kind of in the heart of a fairly far-flung part of Georgia. It's just south of Chattanooga and about a good bit northeast or northwest of Atlanta, outside of a small town named Lafayette. You guys drive kind of through Lafayette. It's one of those places where you stop and you get lunch because you know you're not far and you're gonna have to kind of fuel up, or brunch. You're gonna have to fuel up before you get there, because once you're kind of out in the wilderness, there's not going to be another place to stop for a while. While you are driving, I'm going to assume that Oliver, being Oliver, is going to probably Google where exactly you're going.
Yes.
To get some ideas of what you're in for. So Ellison's Cave is the cave itself, and it's one of the deepest caves in the US. It's about 12 miles in length, but there is a cave pit, which is what you expect you guys are going to have to tackle, and it is the deepest cave drop in the continental US. It's almost twice the height of the Statue of Liberty from top to bottom. It's literally just almost a completely straight down shot. People have gone and gotten, stuck. Like they'll get like halfway down and they'll get exhausted and they can't get themselves back up and they can't get themselves fully down. A couple people have died. It's not common, but it happens enough that it's, you do find like, what do you call them? News articles and things like that about it. So when the dwarves told you to take some climbing gear and to be ready and careful, they weren't joking. You're not entirely sure how this woman lives in this place. You were warned that she doesn't leave. And that it might behoove you to bring some food, so when you stop into Lafayette, you grab like an extra order of food with you to bring with you. You might be able to get her to talk a little bit more if you provide her with sustenance.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll read over this, get all this information absorbed. Right, so are we sure we have enough rope and climbing equipment? Because we're going to need enough to scale at least 2 Eiffel Towers. Or was it Eiffel Tower or Empire State
Statue of Liberty.
Statue of Liberty, my bad. 2 Statue of Liberties.
Dude, I have no idea. Never been here before.
Right, and need extra food as well. That is not candy, as apparently sometimes people die halfway through because they get too exhausted to get down fully or climb back up, and best not have that happen to us, not after everything we've been through. I feel like dying halfway down a cave drop would be a bit silly.
Yeah. Candle mint cake. That's what you need.
Oh, what cake?
Candle mint cake.
Define that for me.
It's like a slab of mint flavored sugar.
And that's better than candy.
Oh, if you go going climbing or hiking or shit like that, oh yeah.
So it's sort of like an energy bar?
Basically, yeah, it just tastes better.
All right, then. Get some of those. We do have the dwarvish climbing gear, so I will put some faith in them on that. I'm sure we have enough there, but double checking wouldn't hurt.
Yeah.
Anything else come to mind that we might need? And I'll also kind of turn around, look at the girls in the back, see if they're awake or still asleep or not.
Oh yeah, they're awake. It's you guys were on the road for a while, between the 2 days, so they had enough time to rest up, and you guys are awake and kind of all in Lafayette, gathering what you need before you head on.
Any feedback?
Definitely like head flashlights.
Agreed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we'll say that kind of stuff was probably included in the climbing kit.
Okay.
Climbing kit. And it's hard to be sure exactly how much rope you have, Oliver, but it seems like there's a good bit. And they've also thrown in things like pythons and whatever in case something goes wrong and you need to create your own, like, tie-offs and handholds.
Oh, cool.
All right. I think we have a good game plan then, just so long as we go in with our head in the game, mitigates some potential bad things from happening.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Were you going to say something, Coda?
Nope.
All right. You guys gather what you need. Thankfully, because Lafayette is so close to a bunch of national parks and wildlife refuges and things like that. Yes, I apologize. Mr. Cat is obviously going ballistic. Won't stop meowing. He's in a mood. Sorry, Pele. I have Pele ambiance going right now. So you guys gather what you need. You're able to get, sugary, energy bar snacks and things like that, at Kris's suggestion. I've already forgotten the name. You'll have to forgive me. You guys are able to buy stuff like that, thankfully, because they're kind of in the middle of nowhere and they're used to a lot of climbers and cave divers coming through here. Good lord. Okay. As you guys get on, you make your way out past... Pulling up my map. You guys make your way past Crockford Pigeon Mountain Wildlife Management place and follow this long kind of winding road through this very hilly area to where the map says a place called Pettyjohn's Cave is. It's a bit of a hike to get there, and then you have to go a little bit further than that to get to where Ellison's Cave is. It's not really marked specifically on any of the road maps, but you guys do manage to stop off at like a one of the what do you call it? Like park information stands to get a map that shows where all the different caves are located. And it turns out there's quite a few. And when you get to this one, there are people occasionally on the different trails. And they seem like normal people, folks who are out hiking. Some people have climbing gear. They look like they might be going bouldering, or they might be going spelunking into caves and whatever. But when you get to Ellison's Cave, it doesn't seem like too many people are planning to descend though you do get some weird looks when people realize that you might be, just based on the sheer amount of gear that you're carrying. Most people are going in and kind of walking through the cave itself, and not planning on taking the plunge, so to speak.
I'd like to say, by the time we get there, I have already sweated through my shirt. I have my jacket off, and it's like slung over my shoulder, and I'm just breathing heavily.
Oh yeah, Oliver is not well physically suited to what is about to happen, and I'm so excited.
I'm not dressed for it either.
What's really funny is that it is the middle of January, but you're also in Georgia, so that kind of offsets it. It's warm, but it's not, not hot. But it's also very, very humid because it's Georgia. Okay, so how are you guys planning to go about this? Are you guys going to try and do this at a time where you're not going to be on the radar of the other people who are here? Because it's kind of the middle of the day, so it's a little bit hard to avoid being seen if you want to go down right now. Or are you just going to say fuck it and go and, live with whatever the consequences of that may be?
I think it's safer to go down during the day when there's other people about, purely just in case we get into trouble.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
The only points I would have in the way of devil's advocacy is that if people see us, they know us, and trouble comes our way, there may be unwitting people who are going to point said trouble towards us, but I think safety and knowing of people knowing us that we're down there and being able to help us in case we run into trouble down there offsets what I said previously, so I agree.
Okay. All right. So we're going in the middle of the day. I would like... How do we want to do this? We're going to make this a group skill challenge, which isn't technically something from this system, but I've seen it in other systems and I like it, so we're going to use it.
All right.
Each of you is going to be allowed to pick a die pool, or just tell me kind of how you want to contribute to this, like what particular expertise or background or knowledge you as a player want to bring to the table, and I will give you your die pool. And if you guys get enough total successes, you will make it to the bottom quite safely. And if you don't, then there will be some complications.
In that case, something I'd like to ask, back when we were kind of in like the information house area place, were there any like magazines or books around on like climbing tips or like climbing for dummies or anything like that?
Yes, but only the very, very basics. And you would know from your online research that the cave that you are going into is not even recommended for some more advanced climbers. Like, this is a very, very challenging climb.
Still, some information's better than others, so back when we were there, I would pick up the book and just quickly flip through it in about 5 seconds and digest everything due to my speed reader knack.
I like it.
Just sort of use some of the basic tips and information that I managed to get to kind of assist with the ropes and harnesses and all the equipment, getting it set up and doing it in such a way that we're like connected to each other. So if something bad happens to one person, they won't just like descend hundreds of feet down and have bad things happen. We're all kind of helping each other out in that regard. And then also, as we're climbing down, sort of giving tips or advice or encouragements and things of that nature. So kind of relying on command if I can.
Okay. Let's go with an intelligence and command roll.
All right, take it. And I assume epic intelligence will apply to this.
It will.
Fantastic. going to be.
While he is rolling, Coda, how do you plan to contribute?
So, first off, Mr. Cat's gonna be in her knapsack. But also she's kind of leaning more towards being, I guess, dexterous about this. So she's keeping an eye out for any loose rocks, any places that like, oh, maybe we shouldn't step there, or maybe we should step there, kind of a situation like that, as well as kind of being another, I guess, in between of strength going down. So if anyone were to kind of like lose their grip, she can very quickly like keep a steady grip on the wall or, you know, on the rope. I don't know how you climb on these things.
So you've given me 3 different things that you want to do. They're all very different things. Do you want to be a person who is keeping your head on a swivel for things like handholds and footholds? Do you want to be kind of the core strength of what's happening?
Not
where
core strength, I would say backup, but
okay,
I would say, you know what, she's keeping an eye out for.
So we're gonna make yours perception and awareness.
Oof.
I got 7 successes, by the way.
Excellent. Does that include your epics?
Yes.
Cool. Kris, how would you like to contribute?
Well, I excel at dexterity and athletics. That's kind of my thing, and fortitude. So I would also like to use my epic charisma knack of inspirational figure to be able to give everybody an extra willpower point, which they can then spend on their rolls for this.
Love that.
By coming out with some kind of inspirational words, which I can go into in a minute. But mainly for me, it's going to be about dexterity and athletics. So probably I'll be one of the people going at the front because I'm also one of the heaviest as well. So if something can take my weight, then it's probably going to take everybody else's weight. That's the way I look at it. But I'm dexterous enough to realize and to be able to move away from any problem rocks and handholds should I find them.
Okay. So you want to be like the core strength person, and kind of the person who's guiding everything physically?
I think so. Yeah, that's where I excel.
Okay. Well then, let's do. That sounds like an athletics role to me. Probably strength, although if something goes horribly wrong, there's always the possibility that you can pivot to dex to try and save your friends.
Okay.
Yourself and your friends, I should say.
Alright.
Sarah, while he is rolling.
In our bag of climbing gear, did we get like any kind of bolt gun to set up anchor points in the stone?
A bolt gun is a very specific request. Make me a just make me a D10 roll. Let's see if you got lucky. Just 1 D10.
Alright, mate. Stop. Sorry, could one of y'all roll this for me real quick while I grab a new battery?
Sure. I'll do it. That's a 6. Yes, you have a bolt gun. Somehow, miraculously, Dolgrim or Mary knew that you were going to need it.
Cool. Then Sarah will probably be one of the first people down, setting up anchor points for everyone else that's climbing.
Okay. Let's do. Thinking. Sorry. Let's do intelligence and. Fuck it. We'll say marksmanship because it's a gun of sorts.
And I am going to use that willpower.
Do it.
We use willpower to re-roll, right?
No, not in. I mean, you could use willpower in combat for rerolls there, but it does something different outside of combat, which I will tell you in 1 second. I'm sorry.
No problem.
4 successes.
4 successes. What did you get, Kris?
5.
5. And Coda, what did you get? Spend just for reference. You can spend a willpower for an automatic success. You get 1 automatic success. And that is in addition to any successes you get from your die roll and all that stuff.
Since this willpower is temporary, right? Is it alright if I just retroactively use mine even though I already rolled?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, then that brings me up to 8.
You could also, you have the option to use it to activate a virtue. So if one of your virtues comes into play here, you can activate said virtue.
Copy. So then, just for me to remember, successes it's above 7, correct?
Yes.
All right. So then 1, 2, 3, and then 1 automatic 4.
And 2 for any 10s.
Copy. So I only got 4.
Okay, so I've got a 7, 4. What did Sarah get? I'm sorry.
4.
4 and
5.
5.
Also, since I'm using my willpower, it's 8.
Okay.
It might make a difference.
8, 13, 17, 21, I think? Yes? Is that right?
Oh.
Yes,
Gerard,
it is.
come
That's
on, help
correct.
me.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. It's like there are other people here. Come on, help me out, guys.
My specialty is literature, not math, I'm afraid.
Mine too, bruh. Okay. So you guys managed to make it the first, say just over the first half. When one of those anchor points that Sarah drove into the stone wiggles loose. And things get very, very unsteady, and you start swinging a little bit more wildly. Oliver, you're struggling to keep yourself from spinning on the rope, which is bad. It requires a fair amount of core strength and balance to be able to stop it, which neither one of those are your strong suit.
Trying my best.
And it doesn't look like Sarah did anything wrong in where she put the anchor. It's just like the rock face was just a little too brittle where it was. And there's like a crack, and the anchor, that python, slips out of the rock and tumbles below you. I will allow one person to try to rectify the situation. If that roll fails, you will lose off of your total. If it succeeds, it will add to your total. And then we'll do another round of rolls.
If I activated my cat's grace, that would only help me, right? But not everyone else.
It only helps you, and it's mostly to keep you on your feet. But you're not on your feet right now.
Who's closest to the issue, that being the loose bolt? Is it me or is it someone else?
I mean, you're the closest one. That's why you're the one who's swinging and kind of spinning. But the closest person to you would probably be either Sarah or Kris.
It's probably me then, I guess.
Right.
Because Kris has been acting as y'all's anchor.
Yes. I know you said only one person, but if you would allow, I would like to kind of just reach into my jacket, kind of touch my special book, and then if Kris is the one trying to fix it, give him or use Trading Fates to help him on his roll for it.
I would like you to give me a stellar description, and then I will. If you can give me a stunt, I will allow you to do it because you are spinning out of control. This is not easy.
I'm spinning out of control, trying my best, assuming I see Kris going to fix it. I'll kind of take a deep breath, close my eyes, and kind of force myself to be calm, be analytical in this situation. Reach into my jacket, grab the book, flip to just what seems like a random page, but somehow I know is the right page. Run my hand over the parchments as the letters and incantations properly form, and more or less just put my hand on it, close my eyes, and then breathe deeply as I kind of begin to feel these connections of fate and the threads that they are all around me, and just kind of taking the ones that are connecting to me and weaving them to instead pull towards Kris, even though I know this may harm me in the future, in order to try to aid him in what he's about to do.
All right, I will allow it. That sounds so tell us mechanically what Trading Fates does.
Mechanically, I roll my die pool, and it basically operates the same way as Bona Fortuna, except instead for me, it would be for Kris, where he'll get a pool of a bunch of successes, or a bunch of die depending on these successes, and he can add an extra number of those successes to rolls that he makes within this scene, the maximum he can do for each pool being half his total willpower.
Okay, so you have to make a roll.
Yes, I make a roll, and then depending on how many successes I make, since it's Trading Fates, next time I do a roll that involves spending a legend point, I lose a number of dice based on how many successes I get.
Wow. All right. So Oliver is spinning, and after a couple of seconds of like a futile attempts to stop himself and to right what has just gone horribly wrong, because the thing that he was holding on to broke and fell away from the rocks. You guys see him reach into his jacket and come out with that book that he has like never let out of his sight, and when all of this has been happening. It's either been physically on his person under the jacket where he can keep it safe, or it's been in his hands and you've never seen it anywhere else. And he is now spinning rather wildly on this rope while this is happening. Kris, you feel and see something kind of peculiar, because you look up and realize that if you don't do something, it's not just going to be Oliver who's in trouble. It's going to be everybody else. It's going to be the others, because they are, you're all tethered together, and it's going to be you because you're the one who's kind of acting as the anchor person for everybody else. And you see, or you smell very distinctly, clover in your nose, and you look up in time to see almost what looks like a climbing rope that wasn't there before, but it's glowing, extending between you and Oliver. And you are filled with a sense of certainty and purpose that wasn't there before. But you also notice that the faint glow that you can see on all of your friends for that brief moment is somehow greatly diminished around him as yours seems to increase.
Okay.
How many successes did we get, Oliver?
4. So for the scene, Kris gets 4 bonus die.
Okay.
Excellent. So Kris, give me tell me how you want to fix this. I will allow you to dictate how you're gonna right the ship.
So basically, I have 3 knacks that are going to be relevant here. I have lightning reflexes, which means I can shoot my arm out the moment I see something going wrong. Cat's Grace, which allows me to keep my balance and stay kind of on where I am. And then I have Uplifting Might, which basically means I can lift over 3,000 pounds in weight. So with one arm, I can quite easily grab Oliver with my arm straight out and just lift him back into safety whilst I'm holding onto the rock.
Wow. All right. Yeah, okay. So let's do, I guess, a strength and athletics, maybe? That sounds good. Sure.
Okay.
You've got all those extra dice too, so
4 extra dice. And if I use my Valor virtue as well, I'll spend a willpower for that. Does that
I
give
will
me
allow it.
Okay. So let me just work out how many dice. Hang on.
Chris is like, hang on. Must do math.
Okay, so that's 17 dice.
Ridiculous number of
Let's
dice is what it
go.
is. Holy shit. That's a lot of successes.
That's 10 successes plus 2 automatic.
Yeah, okay. So it's like something out of like a Dwayne Johnson movie. You guys see Oliver start to lose control. And there's this blur around him as he pulls out this, as you realize that he's pulled out this book. And in the same moment, almost precisely, Kris's arm reaches out and grabs the rope specifically attached to Oliver and just bodily hauls him up with one hand to the nearest handhold, which is a couple of feet from where Oliver is. This isn't an easy lift. It's not like he's moving him a couple of inches. You guys watch as the muscles in Kris's arm and chest and back sort of stand out. But he doesn't make a sound. It doesn't seem like this is hard for him. But he snatches Oliver up almost like a kitten by the rope and pulls him up to the nearest handhold just in time for Oliver to be able to grab onto that pipe. And there's so many successes, I'm not even going to make Oliver try to roll to see if he can grab a handhold. Oliver, the world is spinning around you, but you are safe.
Catch my breath and give a shaky thumbs up.
I got you, bro.
Appreciate it. I'm gonna quickly put my book back into safety.
And before everybody realizes they should have just strapped Oliver to Kris's back. Love you, Oliver.
Thank you.
So after a moment of sort of everybody catching their breath and kind of looking at each other and making sure that you're okay, you realize that it took a good almost an hour just to get down to this point. So you had almost an hour of climbing before there was a real problem. And then that problem was very scary but short-lived. But you've probably got another 40 to 50 minutes to get down to the bottom. So we're going to do another round of rolls. If you guys wish to use the same approach as we can, but if anybody would like to change your approach, that is an option. Oliver, you're going to have to change your approach because you can't be telling people how to put on climbing gear twice.
Right.
I think now you could go.
Okay. Is there a way I can swap from intelligence to wits while doing the anchor point gun stuff?
I would allow a wits plus survival or a wits plus science.
Okay.
Because you would be looking at the state of the rock and trying to find out places where the rock might be brittle, so that doesn't happen again.
Perfect. I shall do that. Wits and science.
Perfect.
Coda? Coda now is focusing more on, like, getting through this. So it's kind of more, just climbing, to be honest, or, like, keeping her grip on everything, making sure Kitty Cat is still holding on tight. It's mostly she's just persevering through this now.
Ooh, Sarah, not so good. So you're doing the same role, Coda?
No, she's not really keeping an eye out. She's now just mostly just strength. She's focusing on just muscling her way down this with everybody.
So that is a strength and athletics.
Oh, it's okay.
Kris.
I'm very much being the rock, the anchor for the group now, even more than I was before.
So I think that sounds like we should be transitioning you to a stamina and fortitude.
Okay.
And you still get your extra die, because that applies to the whole scene. Oliver.
Yes, I'm probably going to be taking a much more analytical approach to this, but before I do, quick question. We classified what I did earlier in order to use my spell as a stunt, right?
Yes, it was a 2 die stunt.
Okay. And since I did a stunt, I get legend points back for doing a stunt, right?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, normally you get 1 back, but because of my Gaius, I get 2 back, right?
Yes,
Just
you
wanted to be
do.
clear with that.
Thank you for remembering. Remembering. Words are hard.
As soon as I got that Gaius, I was like, I got to make sure I get legend points back as often as possible.
Right, well, you're going to be spending them a lot, so...
Yes, I'm a spelly boy. Right, so yeah, I'm switching to a much more analytical approach to this, and especially since now that Coda is just trying to persevere, I'm going to be the one kind of looking out for the most optimal kind of routes, mapping out the route that we should be taking in my head, and then calling out different locations that we should be kind of jumping from place to place to make it easier for us and to be most sustainable and things of that nature. So I'm going that direction of them being much more tactical rather than inspirational.
Okay. I have a question.
Yes.
Would you like to utilize what your singing stone does to give your rating in epic intelligence to Sarah? I know she rolled wits, but I would allow it. I would allow her to have those extra dice.
Will that override what I'm planning to do, or just be like an additional thing I get to do with it?
That would be what you're doing, because Sarah's the one who's actually like driving in handholds and things like that. So you would essentially be using your action to give her help.
In that case, yes, I would most certainly like to do it. That would be a great idea on something to do. So yes, I'll use the singing stone and convey an extra 2 die for her.
Okay, so you need to spend a willpower, and you give Sarah 2 extra dice.
All right. Yep, I will do that.
Sarah, could you roll me 2 extra dice, please?
Yeah. No more successes.
Oh, well, it was worth a shot. Okay, so it looks like we've got 3 successes for Sarah. How many for Coda?
3.
3. And how many for Kris?
8.
Jesus, Kris just carrying. Kris is goat.
We need him.
Okay. So that puts us at, we were at 22. So that puts us at, no, we were at 22 and then you rolled how many on the last roll for the crazy roll?
12 on the last one.
Oh yeah, okay, you guys make it to the bottom, like no problem because of that 12. Like you guys actually managed to gain some movement as soon as Kris got Oliver to the new handhold. You were able to keep moving. You climb down. The second half goes much smoother. You guys could see Oliver is focused on being as useful as possible and allowing the more physical of you to kind of take the weight of what he can't handle, while he kind of shifts tactics to utilize what he is best at, which is being helpful and guiding people. And it works out remarkably well. As it turns out, Sarah and Oliver are a pretty good team. There are still some moments where the rock gets a little brittle and you know, Sarah kind of has to drive something in twice, but the mistake is never made that you put tension on one that isn't going to stay seated the way that it should. And eventually, after almost 2 hours from when you started, you reach the bottom. The bottom of this cave is dark. Not black, it's not like it's nighttime, but it's heavily shaded. The light coming from above is limited. There are like what do you call them? Solar powered, like a solar powered light system where the panels are outside the cave and they sort of run just to a couple of spotlights up at the top of this plunge so that people can look down inside. But that's really the only source of light other than your headlamps. And as you guys get to the bottom and you look around, it looks like there is nothing here at first. Would everybody make me perception and awareness rolls?
Why do you wound me this way?
Except for Oliver, who does not have to make a roll because you have the fate purview.
Never mind then.
Yum, Sarah making up for that really bad roll earlier. Jesus.
Yeah, that's 9 with my epic perception.
Love it.
That's 7.
Perfect.
That's just 3.
Okay, Coda doesn't spot anything at first, but she's very focused on Mr. Cat, who seems both totally chill and at ease like he normally is and slightly freaked out, if only because when you like unzip enough of the bag to really give him the opportunity to come out, you realize that his claws have been sunk into the back of the bag where the padding is. Like he's super chill until you look under the surface and it's clear that he's been white knuckling the whole fucking time. And he climbs up out of the bag and settles onto your shoulder, and kind of wraps himself around you, and there's just this very deep contented purr at being back on the ground. Oliver sees it first. There is a ripple, almost, it looks like you guys have seen like the ripples that you get from like heat mirages, like heat coming up off of like pavement in the distance. That's what this looks like to everybody but Coda. Oliver specifically at first, there's a slight like golden sheen to it for just a moment to you, Oliver, where it almost looks like the stone wall is more gold than rock. And then it looks like rock again, but it's obviously like flimsy and almost moving. And it's off to your left.
Do the rest of you see that, or is it just me?
See what?
What?
No, Kris, you see it. So does Sarah. It just takes a minute.
The moving wall?
Yes, and
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like switching to gold a bit as well. I imagine that's the way we're meant to go.
Yeah.
Well then, let us go that way then, and I will lead the charge.
Okay. Oliver walks towards the wall and kind of puts a hand up to like test it before he potentially risks like running face first into it, and you guys watch as his hand sinks into it like it's liquid.
This
that's
is... No, go
kinda
on.
gross.
It's a very strange sensation. It's kind of like putty almost.
Yeah, it feels like a cross. It feels like you're pushing your hand into like Jello almost, but
Wow.
slightly more like it. There's just a tad bit more consistency to it, a little bit more resistance. But you push through, and your fingertips break through first. On the other side, you can just feel air.
I can confirm there is another side. Take a deep breath just in case. And then I'm gonna do so and move through.
Does everybody follow?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, you all push through this weird amorphous feeling wall, and you come out on the other side expecting to feel gross, to feel like it's clinging to you, but it doesn't. You feel normal, still like sweaty and grungy from the climb and everything, but there's nothing clinging to you. Your clothes are clean. It's just that whatever that magic was had a very weird, thick consistency. On the other side, you find yourselves in a large cavern. And there is a distinct sense about the place that feels otherworldly and unreal. There is power here. Everybody can feel it. Oliver, most of all, given his connection to magic and fate and everything. But in fact, Oliver, you can almost feel the book vibrate as you come here. Like it resonates with this place. You can see glints off of what look like thousands, if not millions, of fate threads all over this place. And they extend into the walls. They extend into what you realize is what looks like a large open hole in the ceiling of the cavern, through which a shaft of sunlight falls in, kind of dappled, like there are leaves kind of halfway extended over it. It's green and gold and breathtakingly beautiful, and it alights almost perfectly on what looks like a kind of run-down, ramshackle, but still somehow very quaint, fairy tale-esque looking little cottage. There's a pool of crystal clear water off to one side, from which you can see reflections and peaks of stalactites and stalagmites in the water. There's no grass here, but there is moss growing on many of the stones that almost looks like a very comfortable like rug over all of that stone, all of what should be very harsh and unforgiving. There are clusters of mushrooms here and there, and from the little chimney over top of the cabin, a faint wisp of smoke curls up.
Fascinating. Well, I suppose we should go knock?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Who would like to do the honors on that part?
You're the
I'll go.
talking one.
Very well. And I will walk up and knock.
Okay. Oliver and Coda both step up to the door as Coda looked quite happy to do it herself if nobody else did.
I missed that, and that was my bad.
No, it's okay. I think it's hilarious that you both did it. So you both like get up there, and as you get up there, Oliver, you look over in time to catch Coda's hand up, and you like pull yours back and let her knock. And there is an immediate like rustle of sound and like clanging of metal and things behind the door. And it sounds like somebody dropped something, like maybe a pot. And you hear a kind of half nasally, kind of congested sounding female voice from inside. One minute. I'll be there. Hold on. Oh, jeez. Oh no. And you hear fretting and somebody moving frantically around inside. For several long moments before the door flies open, and this woman is standing on the other side, and she is wearing modern clothes. But they are modern clothes that have clearly seen better days. There's like khaki shorts that probably had a lot of like cargo pockets in them at one point, but the pockets are like ripped off now. Like the seams kind of just weren't holding up anymore, so she just pulled the flaps of fabric off. She's wearing what looks like a faded and kind of threadbare University of Georgia t-shirt, in like the funkiest of like, I don't know, like 90s tie-dye patterns. And her hair is long and looks like it should be like stick straight and blonde, but it is a frizzy mess. It looks like she makes the effort to brush it, but she cannot tame it. So it's like a kind of straight, poofy, like hanging at an angle, almost like it hangs over her shoulders and continues to go outward. And she's got glasses that look like they came straight out of like the 80s, where they are like as big as like half of her face. Like absolute Coke bottle glasses. Hi. Are you the prospecting team? I mean, the school sent somebody to say that someone would be by, but I expected you guys weeks ago. That was one hell of a delay. I'm sorry. Come in. I'm sorry. I'm so, I was not expecting company. I'm normally better put together than all of this.
It's okay. Take your time. We arrived unannounced.
She seems scatterbrained and almost half manic. As she like guides you into this very small house. Kris, you're able to go inside, but you are distinctly aware that if you move too fast in any one direction or turn too much, you're gonna like elbow something or or knock a wall out. Like this is not a large place.
I'm gonna keep my hands clasped in front of me then.
Mr. Cat immediately jumps down off of Coda's shoulders and kind of disappears under like pieces of furniture, like he is finding his way in the way that only cats can do.
All right, goodbye.
Are you thirsty? I have some moonshine. Please don't tell the administration. But it's so hard to get, anything other than water here.
Administration?
From the school, yeah. I technically shouldn't be drinking while I'm, on the clock, and since I'm doing my research project here, I'm always on the clock, but, they can't own me all of the time, can they? And she'll sort of, like, flail.
No, they can't. It's colleges, am I right?
I'm gonna put up a finger, just drenched in sweat. I wouldn't mind a glass of water, if you don't mind.
Water? What about the rest of you? More adventurous? Moonshine? It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Tastes like blueberries.
I gotta ask, do we have to climb up in order to get out?
Well, it's the most direct way, but there is the back way.
What's the back way?
That just means a longer hike back to your car.
But we
But
don't
there's
have
less
to go
climbing.
climbing.
There's less climbing involved. It's mostly... It's not vertical climbing, It's more angled.
Yeah, I'll take the water then, I think. Be safe.
Okay, what about you? You look like you would drink moonshine. And she's looking at Sarah.
Normally I would take you up on... Actually, I could use a drink. Now that I'm thinking about it.
See, the girls know what's up. And she turns and pulls out this very large glass jug that is full of something clear. And pours it into two like tin cups, which she hands over to Coda and Sarah. Oliver on the other hand Oliver and Kris on the other hand get these little wood cups, which she fills with water, which looks like it has probably been through some sort of distillation process based on the setup.
Sorry, while she's pouring, can I sort of just take a step back, kind of fade into the background for a little bit, and subtly just sort of adjust my monocle and activate Brehon's eye just to get a sense of this woman, to read her Enic, see if this is truly the person we're looking for, and any other information. Although I'm pretty sure I'm not going to get very good results because of trading fades.
Read me what Brehon's eye does.
So effectively, I roll my dice pool, and for each success, I can judge the Enic of an individual, starting with the person with the highest legend score, reading each person's highest virtue, lowest virtue, and nature.
Sure, give me a roll.
Normally this would be 6 die, but because of trading fades, it drops.
Not prepared to have to divulge a huge amount of her sheet. So I have to now pull up everything. Thanks for that, Oliver.
Sorry, I'm just trying to be prepared, thorough.
All right, you just caught me unprepared is all.
2 die, 2 successes. So if there was another person here, I'd be able to get a second person, but it's just her, so.
Okay, and what all do you get from her?
Highest virtue, lowest virtue, and nature.
Okay, her nature we will start with because it is the easiest. She looks... So it's hard. As you're looking at her, it sort of seems to jumble where one moment it looks like she might be a Bravo, like a thrill seeker. But it also looks a little bit like she might also be a pedagogue. And like, it's weird because you can see they almost layer on top of each other. And so sometimes one comes through a little bit better than the other. And you can see so many of those fate threads that were outside also extend into this cabin. And almost all of them are touching her. So you're fairly certain that fate is interfering to some degree in your ability to read her well. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
As for her virtues...
Sorry, quick question. Does it seem like, do I get the sense that it's interfering due to me using Trading Fate earlier, or just because that's how it is naturally?
No, it seems like that's just how it is.
I see.
Based on what you saw, it seems like her very nature is kind of dualistic, and it wars against itself in some ways. Her highest virtue is intellect. Lowest seems to be order.
In that case, I'll just gladly take the cup that she gives me, smile, and nod appreciatively.
Okay. You guys are given your drinks. The water looks crystal clear. And like I said, it looks like she's got a little setup in her little, like, mini kitchen area that looks like she probably distills her water to make sure that it's clean and safe for drinking. And do Sarah and Coda try the alcohol?
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Okay. How are we going about this? Are you like sipping experimentally, or you just take it a swig?
Sipping experimentally just to get an idea of what she's working with.
Taking a swig.
Okay. Well, the first thing you two realize is that it is intensely alcoholic. It's really fucking powerful. I would like both of you to roll me stamina and fortitude. Yeah, stamina and fortitude.
I'm gonna lean over to Kris. If they get plastered, we're gonna have to carry them out, you know.
Yeah.
Kris is like, that's why I'm not drinking.
Oh boy. Thank you for also not drinking then, because I don't think I could get all three of you on my own, especially not after the descent down.
9 total successes for that roll.
4 total successes. 4
Successes? Words are hard. I understand.
4.
They are.
Okay. You guys are, the first thing you notice is that this if this stuff could take like oil stains off of concrete. It is that kind of powerful. But the second thing that you notice is it does in fact taste like wild blueberries. Really, actually very good.
This is delicious. Thank you.
Yeah. Can I take some of this to go when we eventually leave here?
Maybe. What's it worth to you?
What's it worth? Another sip.
You're asking to take something with you that takes time and effort to brew. I'm just saying, do you have anything worth trading? I don't get to leave very often.
Well,
I can give you toaster strudels.
You do not
No.
want those toaster strudels. You don't want them.
You do. No one's asking you. You don't have toaster strudels. you had to go to a grocery store to get those, and who's coming down here? So here you go, a whole box of toaster strudels, and I'll throw in a pack of gum.
She looks between you and Sarah and Oliver.
I'm just like doing the hand over my throat, just like, don't do it, don't. But I'm standing behind Coda so she can't see it.
So help you. I will end you.
Sarah just looks like she's about to pull something out of her own backpack and just waiting for this silliness to end.
I'll pass on the toaster strudels, but I'll take the gum if you've got something else you could throw in.
Got some sushi.
I have this. And Sarah will pull out a bottle of whiskey.
I look at Kris just appalled, like you actually bought the gas station sushi.
No, I bought the sushi when we got into town.
Oh, good.
But she sees the bottle of whiskey from Sarah. It's like, done. And he immediately like goes over and you see her like sort through what looks like an assortment of old canteens that have probably been like brought and left here by others. Opens one up, kind of turns it over to make sure it's empty, and then immediately like fills it up. Whiskey and gum, and you could have this much, and it's a decent sized canteen.
Nice. This stuff's definitely flammable.
We're not setting this on fire. We're drinking it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
She will kind of eye Coda and then hand Sarah the alcohol because she's just like, I like my house.
Yeah, Sarah will stick it back in her backpack where it's safe and look around some more.
So, I mean, I was told the team would be here weeks ago, and then when you guys didn't show up, I assumed it got canceled. How are things?
Well, I'm not quite sure how to say this, ma'am, but we sort of need your help with some things.
I kind of figured nobody makes the trip out here unless they have to. What am I supposed to help you with? Did you bring? I mean, you guys don't look like you have your gear, so I don't. How are you supposed to prospect or anything if you're? I mean, they didn't expect me to provide you gear, right? Because my stuff broke. God, I don't even know how long ago, and I've put in a requisition form for more, but nobody's ever brought any.
So, what's a prospect there? You keep saying these words that I don't understand, ma'am.
Oh, I mean, it's a broad title. Prospecting, it basically means you're looking for something. You're scanning to try and find things. Kris, since you are the quietest one here, would you give me a perception awareness, please?
6. Sorry, no, yeah, 6, including my epic perception.
Okay. As you were sitting, you rolled in the PC chat. I was like, where is it? As you are sitting there and listening to them talk, you look up at some movement out of the corner of your eye, and you realize that Mr. Cat has like jumped up on top of this like old ramshackle bookshelf, and there is a like Birds of the World calendar hanging up above it. That very distinctly has 1992 as the year. But it's on January.
I'll go and have a look.
It looks like she's been like crossing off the dates. And today's date is not like, today's date, but in 92 has not been crossed off.
Huh. Ma'am, can I ask you a question?
Sure. What's up, handsome?
What year do you think it is here?
What do you mean, do I think it is? I know it's 1992. I mean, my calendar's right there. I just got here last year.
No, it's not.
Okay.
She looks confused. Of course it is. I just got here a few months ago.
Coda, that's not funny.
Not at all. It is most certainly 1992.
But
Sarah will nod.
right. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot the
You must be a
New
month
Year's.
behind. Yes,
Yeah,
New
New
Year's.
Year's. So I think it's 1991.
You know how it is when you're writing a date on a paper and you always put the wrong number, so you just draw over it with the right number.
Yeah, right.
Oh, and there's this moment where her eyes kind of gloss over a little bit, and her face is slightly slack-jawed, and she's sort of nodding like, oh yeah, no, that makes sense. Like her mind is doing the thing that it needs to do to buy into what she's being told. That makes sense.
Yes.
I have the same problem. I struggle to remember to change the date on my papers all the time.
It happens to the best of us. Now, ma'am, I must confess that I'm not part of the group that you were expecting. In fact, I am an academic, and I'm here to hope to speak with you, actually. I had heard about you coming down here, and I was very interested with Georgia State. I wanted to write a article on you and what it's sort of like to live down in a cave like this.
Oh. Well, I mean, you'll forgive me for saying so, but she'll kind of like gesture at your clothes, but it's pretty clear that you're
Not a climber?
right.
Yes.
Why didn't y'all think to tell him that this was not the kind of outfit that you take when you go climbing? Were you
He was
trying
too
to kill him if
determined.
he'd stroke?
Too determined.
Oh, one of those, huh? Typical
Mhm.
man.
Anyway.
No offense. And she'll kind of look over at Kris. And
None taken.
Wait, okay. So, would you mind if I asked a few questions?
Sure. Come have a seat, mister. And she'll kind of put her hand out.
Bright, Oliver Bright.
Are you going to shake her hand? Or...
Yes.
So, the moment your hand touches hers, the feeling in the room shifts, and it is palpable. Not just to you, but to everybody. Everybody can feel a sudden uptick in I don't want to say tension, but the air feels almost oppressive and magical at the same time. Like you all are literally carrying things that are magical with you. And they all give you this slight sense of this is out of the ordinary. It's bigger than it should be. It's larger than life. But it's an item, so it's easily, kind of dealt with. You suddenly feel like every breath you take is breathing in that feeling. Like you're getting big, deep lungfuls of magic and fate. And there is an almost concrete weight that settles into the stomachs of everybody here. And you all feel pretty glued to the spot that you are in.
I'm going to try to play it off the best I can.
Oliver, you are able to see all of those fate threads in staggering and stunning clarity. There's too many to count, but they are all connected to her. You almost can't see her through them. Each of you watch as her face goes slack again. and her eyes roll back in her head. And she takes a deep kind of racking gasp in, and as her voice comes out, it sounds breathy and otherworldly, but also kind of haunting at the same time. It sounds like her, but it doesn't sound like her, if that makes sense. It sounds like somebody has taken her soul and almost pulled it out of her, and her soul is speaking for her without the use of her body, is the only way I could think of to describe it. The lights in the room dim suddenly and considerably. These camping lanterns that she has kind of strategically placed flicker and go down to barely embers. So you're seeing more from the light flickering in through the windows than you are from those now. And every time she breathes in, the whole cabin almost seems to breathe around her. Son of Kings. You come to me carrying a piece of the weave with you. It will be your greatest boon and your greatest undoing. There will come a day where you will have to choose to be a warrior or a mouse. The wrong choice will see those you care for die. Daughter of cats. She doesn't look at Coda, but you can tell. It's like she's looking through you. You question your place in the world and in the hierarchy. But you have been given the tools with which to carve a place for yourself. There is a creature your foremother saw through fate's eyes at the beginning of time. You will see it again. See it and its children rise from the sands. You will fix it. Put it back to sleep, or it will ravage the world. Children of the Aesir. And son of the goddess of the hunt. You two are caught in a web bigger than you could know. You, bow wielder, will have to choose your family. You cannot belong to both. And you, Avenger. And lightning quick, her free hand that isn't touching Oliver reaches out and snatches Sarah's wrist and hauls her bodily across this table so that Sarah is inches within her from her face. This woman who is stick thin and should not have the strength to jostle you handles you like Kris handled Oliver when he was spinning out of control on the ropes. She brings you close and her voice drops to a whisper. You will be the one standing at the end of all of it. Your decisions will determine whether you stand alone or side by side with others. And then there's this long, slow, again, rasping and shaking breath that she takes in, and the whole cabin almost seems to get smaller and more claustrophobic around you. The lights go out completely. Even the lights from outside seem to fail to reach most of here. And it takes a moment for any of you to realize that the glow that still seems to be here somehow is like an ambient glow. And everybody but Oliver, who can see this quite clearly, but everybody else, it takes you a moment to realize that the glow is coming from these hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of teeny tiny little gossamer threads that are connected to her. Ages grow weak. Bars do not hold up forever. And agents of the most ancient ones roam the night, collecting trophies from unspoiled and untapped resources of the divine. They want to rule again. You will have to slow them down. Already one you have met has died. And then it's like an exhale rather than an inhale, and all of the light rushes back into the room. The threads fade away from everybody's vision but Oliver's, and they become far less intense to Oliver. She releases Sarah's wrist, and she's still holding Oliver's hand, but it goes from this iron grip to the kind of soft, non-committal shake that you were getting when you first reached out for her, Oliver. And she sort of sits back for a moment, lets your hand go, and then immediately lets out this deep racking cough, and blinks, and her eyes are normal. She seems like she's back to her normal self. She's animated. She's a little random and flailing. Oh, I'm so sorry. The damp here, it gets to me. I really should spend more time out in the sun.
Sarah's gonna be rubbing the wrist she grabbed with one hand and say, it's alright, and just slowly backing away.
There are red marks on your wrist. You can imagine that you're probably going to have a bruise by afternoon. Or by evening.
Oh, good.
So, when's the last time you had a visitor?
Well, like I said a few weeks ago, Well, I guess it was probably a little over a month ago. Yeah, there was another team that came through, and they did some digging, took some samples with them back to the university, and mentioned that they were going to send another team. I just expected you guys a while ago. Yeah. So, I'm sorry. What did you say your name was?
And my hands are shaking a bit, but I quickly kind of clasp them together in front of me to stop that and give a reassuring smile as if everything is fine, even though everything is most certainly not fine. And Bright, Oliver Bright, ma'am, and you said your name was?
Oh, right, Mr. Bright. My name is Elizabeth. Professor Elizabeth Martin.
It's a pleasure to meet you, Professor Martin.
Nice to meet you too, Mr. Bright. So what can I do for you?
Oh yes, sorry, I just had some simple interview questions about life down here in the cave, and we can go through those very quickly if you don't mind.
Sure. Out of character, I'm going to assume you don't want to role play out a whole Q&A.
No, because that's how he was originally going to fish for information, but it has been given to us now, so Oliver's just doing it for show at this point.
Right. So I'm going to have you roll... Is there... I apologize. Manipulation and either presence or if you have some sort of like acting, or you could do I don't know, like larceny maybe.
I'll take presence.
Me getting caught up in the various different White Wolf games I know, with the different options for all of them. I was just like, God, what are all the options?
While
4.
Oliver's working on that, Sarah's just gonna say to the room, I'm gonna step outside for a cigarette, and she's gonna take all of her stuff with her.
Okay. Pele returns to or is back inside again. And hops down off of the top of that ramshackle bookshelf and weaves his way back over to Coda and up into her lap.
You'll hold him kind of tightly to her because she's a little bit startled about what just happened. And kind of be like, I think I'll also go stand out with Sarah too. And then she's gonna turn and go outside.
Okay. What did we get, Oliver?
4, I believe.
4. Kris, are you going anywhere? Are you staying?
No, I'm going to stay. I was going to go outside, but if 2 of them are going, I don't want all three of us to go, so I'll stay inside.
Okay. So you are there to watch as Oliver stumbles through a little bit of an interview. He manages to stick with pretty bog standard questions. Honestly, it sounds a little bit like he is taking inspiration from like first day of the like year questionnaires that they give out in school. For the kids to like introduce themselves and get to know like the rest of their classmates.
Most certainly.
Combined with, what's it like to live in a cave and what are you working on here and blah, blah, blah. And she has a lot of like, a lot of what comes out of her mouth sounds like gobbledygook to you too. Oliver, you have some semblance of understanding that she is some sort of geologist. Who specializes specifically in like deep earth caves, and this region of the world. But that's kind of as far as your very English literature-oriented brain can go in
And-
understanding.
I'll try my best to kind of build a rapport and have like casual conversation, mix in with the interview as well. Like as she talks about things involving geology and such, I'll be like, my mother is actually kind of involved in the same field. She does archaeology instead, though.
Smart woman.
Yeah, she's abroad in Ireland, I believe, doing some of the ruins and things there.
Excellent. That's great. I wish her all the best on her projects. I have made some very interesting findings here.
I do as
And
well.
she sort of launches into it a little bit. And it takes some time, but eventually you manage to pry yourself away from that line of conversation. I'm going to assume that somebody remembers to give her food that you brought for her.
Yeah.
So there's a meal from the nearby town, which is like freshly made, and she looks deeply grateful for that. And I believe you guys also said last session that you were gonna grab some general like grocery necessities, which she
Yes.
also seems very, very grateful for.
And I bought some sushi for her in the last town as well.
Perfect. That's the lunch that she was brought. That is actual like real fresh sushi, and she seems very impressed. Because she didn't know that Lafayette carried sushi, because last time she was there was the 90s. But she'll take it and nom down. And she happily sees you guys back outside and points you into a cavern that looks like it extends off into darkness. And she says, just follow that and take the third right, followed by the fourth left. And then it's going to look like it's curving back on itself, but I promise it's not. Just follow it to the end and you'll find your way out. There's a little bit of climbing, but it's not a straight vertical climb like before. It's mostly like a really heavy hike.
Oh, thank
Thanks.
God.
Thank you so much for your time, Professor Martin. It has been a enlightening experience.
Of course. And again, I'd appreciate you guys not telling the administration at the school that I brew my own.
Wouldn't dream of it.
Yeah, snitches get stitches, Professor.
Perfect.
Mhm.
That's the right answer. Well, you all come back and see me whenever you want.
She's also
Thank
gonna
you.
slide her a small baggie and be like, open it when we get away from here.
All right. This isn't toaster strudels, is it?
No.
Okay, cool. Well, you guys have a safe walk back to your cars.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And she lets you guys go. And I will give you a few moments to roleplay and interact with each other.
Ow.
Yeah, that was something, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Well,
What was that all about?
What
I don't know, but if someone tells me I'm gonna be the last one standing one more time, they're gonna be the first one that falls.
It's kind of sick.
That doesn't bode well for the rest of us, though.
That's my point exactly.
No, it's in that last bit. Something about agents wanting to rule the world again, and we have to slow them down. And one that we've already faced has already died. That gives us some idea, but still not much on where to begin, is it?
Yeah.
No.
I think the agents were one of them at least is the woman that we fought in the motel.
So do we need to track her down and somehow defeat her? It did not seem like it would go that well for us last time.
Well, there are a few things we could do to prepare, especially to, copy the successful attack you guys managed to do last time.
Maybe. We'd have to lure her into a trap, make a cohesive plan. But
That reminds me. I'm sorry. This fully slipped my mind. Net texted me and said they were all like she was also attacked, and that
They were attacked?
yeah.
Did they?
Are they
But-
fine? Or what happened? Is everything
She
okay?
said they're fine. They got away, but it was the same situation as us. Instead of the blonde lady, it was a guy that came with the wolves, but she said hers got away, but she still said they were attacked too, and she just told us to be safe and stuff. But I fully forgot, that slipped my mind. She texted me and said, yeah, they were attacked too. But if they just said one of them has died, maybe her team took one of them out.
Maybe it depends on if Professor Martin was referring to us as in the general us, as in Scions, or if they meant the four of us specifically.
Huh.
Well, I think you are kind of focusing on the wrong thing right now. What I'm most worried about is the ancient ones. I mean, we talked a little bit about Titans before, but is there more than that?
I'm sure we need to bring this up to someone who knows far more than we do. We are still new to this world.
Maybe I don't know, hit up a library or something. I know it's absolutely crazy to say this, but maybe maybe there's like a secret Scion library.
That could be good.
Also, I mean, those creatures were able to find us somehow, so we also don't know what we're going to run into once we reach surface, because our car has just kind of been out there.
Again, true. This... Oh boy, we were meant to come here for answers, and now we just have more questions. But I suppose that is the way it goes in terms of academics. Only problem is, in this case, lives are on the line, allegedly.
What? It can't be an epic adventure if there's no stakes. She's gonna like elbow Oliver playfully.
Yes, correct in terms of general plots. Hero's journey, there needs to be stakes, but this is not a book. This is real life, and the stakes mean far more. I can analyze a plot, I can understand how it's going to go based on just my knowledge of how plot works. I can't do that in real life. Unless...
Unless...
Go on.
Mm-hmm.
Fate. It has a way of doing what it wants, right? It seems like it already has everything planned out. It knows what it's going to do, how the story is going to go. It's just we're not privy to it yet. Because of that, Fate operates a lot like a book. It operates a lot like a general sense of plot. And if it does that, then we can sort of predict in a way how things are going to go. It's not going to give us all the answers, mind you, but we'll have some level of assurance so long as we follow this assumption that it's going to play out like a story.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning...
So...
Oh, go on, Miss Massaquoi. I'm open to feedback.
So are you saying we should just go somewhere and fate will follow us?
I'm saying that, in a sense, yes. That's the hero's journey, and it has a way of forcing the hero or heroes into going on the path that they need to be on, even when they try their best to avoid it. It's just the nature of it. So maybe it will catch up to us, but the consequences will change based on what we do. I'm only saying this because we're trying to figure out our next steps. We're on the hero's journey. We've had the call of adventure happen to us. It's just we now need to know what we're meant to do now. We
need a guide, pretty much.
need a guide. And allegedly that's what we've just met with. We've met with our guide and we've been given some pieces and insights onto what's to come, but we haven't been given quite the next step. So if this were a story, I think you are in a sense right, Miss Massaquoi, that we just go back to our car and sort of expect something to happen. That or I'm being completely delusional.
It will. That's how the hero's journey works. You know, we've had our call to adventure. We've had the supernatural intervention. We've just met our helper. Now we've got to do a trial and a failure before we get to the first kind of denouement, the death and rebirth before we carry on.
That's some shit.
Wait,
It's exactly
we
right.
have to die?
It's
No,
not
it's
always literal. It's a
No, it's not.
metaphorical death and then
Maybe
rebirth.
like
Sometimes
abandoning
it's literal.
a
We
part
have
of
to
what-
lose.
Yeah.
We have to lose
Yes.
something, and then we regain and carry on.
Okay, so keep the good plans for after the metaphorical death.
Well, typically the metaphorical death happens because of the good plan. You know, best laid plans of mice and men often
Right.
go awry, but once we get past that point, the good plan should start working more. Hopefully, it's again, we're basing this off of a story, even though this is still real life, and I'm going on a theory here, a very, very tenuous theory.
All right. Well, let's go then. Just
You know, what I'm a little bit worried about is she said that I've got to give up one of the things, one of my I got to choose which side I want to be on. You know, choose who to follow. I think that basically means either Artemis or Loki.
well,
Where are you leaning?
yeah.
Well, the problem being is I've been embroiled in Norse heritage for all my life, like 30 years, so it's going to be difficult to give that up. The fact that I've got to pick and choose, if I decide to give up Artemis, then I think I'm screwed. So the logical choice is I have to give up everything that I've learned of my actual, well, supposed heritage, my real family, real life parents rather than Loki or Artemis or whatever. So having to give that up is tough, you know. I don't really want to do it, but if that's what I've got to do in order to survive, then that's what I've got to do.
I guess that's kind of like a hunter, to be honest. Do what you need to survive. And think
Yeah.
about it. If you stick with Artemis and this Loki is missing, maybe you can hunt him down when we're done with whatever shit we're doing.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hunt down the missing dad. Well, missing sire, because, you know, you have an actual dad. Can't
Right.
forget them.
I think it would be stupid of me if I decided to give up Artemis and went with Loki, so
Uh-huh.
I've got to
Well.
go with Artemis.
If it helps, just the things that I felt just from the mention of his name and how I've seen you perform, Loki doesn't deserve you.
Yeah, ain't that the
Oh,
truth?
thank you.
Seems
I
like
think it's clear which way I have to go, though.
yes.
Sorry, Oliver, I cut you off.
No, you're perfectly reasonable. I just thinking out loud as I tend to, and it seems that Professor Martin has given each of us something personal to reflect on and prepare for in the future. And well, I guess the best thing we can do is support each other in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, we do have people that are looking out for us, but the only people that can look out for us day to day are each other. That's basically it.
Exactly, and if I'm the last one to fall, everyone just stand behind me.
Yeah, we'll catch you. That's what those stupid posters say, right? If you fall, we'll catch you or some shit. Or hang in there, bucko.
With the cat.
Yeah, with the cat, it's like there's like a bucket underneath the
I
cat.
am not hanging anywhere.
Not you, Pele. She says this out loud.
Wait, what now?
Yeah, what?
Sorry, yeah, Pele said. Oh, that's now Mr. Cat's name is Pele. Because, anyways, doesn't matter. He said I'm not hanging anywhere. I can talk to him. You know that, right? I can.
Yes, we're aware.
Okay, he just said it doesn't matter. He was being sassy.
Well, either way, it was probably funny and cattish.
Yeah, he's definitely catty. That's for sure.
Either way, no matter what we do, I think if we just stick together, we'll be fine. Power of friendship and all.
We're a team.
Do we do like a team huddle now?
We are a team.
No, before that, I do need to mention that my original idea was just to firebomb a Hobby Lobby.
Why would we firebomb a Hobby Lobby?
Because if anyone deserves it, it's them.
Interesting.
You do have a point.
Huh.
Well, on that note, you all walk for quite a while. This is a very winding and circuitous route. But eventually you manage to make it out. You break out into the open air, and it is well into the evening by the time you get there. Sarah, your wrist has bruises that you pretty sure would match that woman's fingerprints. You don't know how a normal human, especially one so frail looking, could hold you that tight without like breaking her own fingers. But she did, and she left her mark on you.
She'll just be looking at it as they continue walking.
The problem is that you guys come out into the open, and open is a strong word. You come out into the forest in a place that doesn't seem to have any paths leading up to it. And in fact, when you step out, you turn to look back at where you came from, and you can't find the opening in the earth that you just climbed out of.
Wow.
That's par for the course, I suppose.
If we ever have to come back here, I suggest we learn how to fly first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Or just parachute down, to be honest.
I don't know if it's wide enough for a parachute.
Oh, right.
Hard
Maybe-
to be sure. So how are you guys planning to get back to your car? You're not entirely sure where you are, but it is nighttime.
Anyone remember where we parked?
No!
No, I would say keep clicking the like click click.
There's a trick where if you do it underneath your chin, it'll widen the range.
Oh, well yeah, do that. Keep
You don't hear anything.
and you probably still have the map of the area, right? She looks to Oliver, like in those pamphlets or something.
Yes, I should. And I open up my jack and rifle through all my different road maps. And
You
there's
have
a pamphlet.
the ranger's map of the park. Looking over it, there is no clear indication of where this opening should be, but you can kind of guesstimate that you're probably a few miles from the entrance of the caves. And from what little you can make sense of all the twists and turns in the exit to get out, you figure you could probably move like north and east and get back to one of the trails, which should lead to the ranger station where you left your car.
Right, I think I have the way ahead here.
Lead on, Macduff.
That I shall.
You all are able to tromp through the woods. It's not a fun time. It's not comfortable. If any of you are particularly prone to getting bit by bugs, it's probably going to happen. Not too many because thankfully it's winter, but it's still Georgia, so there's some. But eventually you guys make it to your car. Looks like it did when you left it here. And you guys are just starting to kind of let out a slow breath of relief. When let's say Oliver, your phone rings.
My actual phone or Teddy's phone?
Your phone.
Okay. I'll pull that out slowly, warily.
You look down and the faceplate has Net's name on it.
Well, is it like a text or?
No, it's a call. She's calling.
Oh. I'll pick it up and put it on speaker. Net, are you all right?
Where the hell have you been?
We just got out of a cave.
What?
Oh, I think I see where this is going. How long has it been since you spoke with Coda?
God, like, I don't know, 4 or 5 days?
What?
I've called like all of you like 6 times. Where the hell did you go?
We were speaking with a seer about what we should do next, and we went down in a cave to do so.
Wait. You went to see a seer?
Yes, it was recommended for us.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Did you go to the one in Georgia?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to assume that this means that everybody's alive.
We are.
Cool. The dwarves really should have warned you. That's kind of like... There's so much fate going on in that place that'll even fucking divine IT, like divine tech stuff, like fucking, you know, your iGyallers, the special phones. You guys got those, right?
Yes, we did.
Even those don't work there.
I gather as much. It was,
and time is weird. It warps and it like doubles back on itself and okay. Oh, Jesus. Well, I feel better knowing that you're alive.
So what have we missed?
Well, me panicking for one, because I couldn't feel you.
Call it payback for freaking me out after giving Coda her message. I was concerned.
Damn it, Coda, I told you not to tell him.
I fully forgot. We just went through quite the experience, and time is wibbly wobbly, so I forgot. Oops. Glad to hear you're okay.
I mean, I'm okay. I guess. My house is, you know, not, but it's fine. I'll get another one.
Where are you, if you're allowed to say this over a phone? I'm not sure if Titans...
I'm in New York right now. We had to bring Moira home.
And by that, do you mean what I think you imply?
Yeah. There was another fight, and we were trying to shepherd some babies out of the city before their awakenings could be forced on them, and we were overwhelmed, and Moira decided to hang back to slow them down, and she couldn't get away.
I'm truly sorry, Ned.
Yeah, shit happens.
It does.
Could somebody make me a wits and empathy roll, please?
I'm pretty good at that, so I'll go ahead and do it.
I mean, anybody who's listening can, but at least one person needs to.
Why not?
Oh, that's the wrong channel again.
I'm supposed to be good at it. Never mind. Oh, that's a 1.
6.
3, 4, 6 as well.
166. What did you get, Coda?
I can roll the O's in the math. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Coda and Oliver, Net seems weirdly stoic. It's almost like she's still angry that she hasn't been able to get a hold of you. But Kris and Sarah, you are both keenly aware that this is someone who has been through absolute hell and has just locked down her emotions because it's the only way that she can handle it. And you are both keenly aware of just how young Net is and how much she's seen. So listen, I am, we're here for her funeral. Unfortunately, it's tomorrow, so I doubt you guys are going to be able to get here. But the work doesn't stop. There's still more people that have to be scooped up and gotten somewhere safe so that they can meet their folks. Do you guys, you're in Georgia, right? Right? Yeah. Could you meet me in Atlanta day after tomorrow? I could really use the backup.
Yes.
Yeah,
Kareem is working with another group, but I'm gonna try and get him here too. But I could.
Of course, we'll be here.
Thank you.
Anywhere specifically in Atlanta you'd like to meet up?
I'll contact you when I get there. It's too risky to give precise information until we're close. But get there, get some rest. I've been to see a few oracles. It's never not draining. So you're gonna need your rest. I need you while you're there to. You're gonna get a phone call. Probably Coda. I'll give him your number. There's a guy who has some supplies. I helped him out a while back, so I think he owes me, and I'm gonna need you guys to go see him and pick them up. And keep them safe until I get there, okay?
We can do that.
Cool. All right. I should go. Moira's adopted mom is making dinner. So I'll talk to you guys later.
Yeah.
All right. We'll be seeing you, Ned.
And she hangs up. And as she hangs up, you guys are keenly aware of just how quiet the world around you is. Like, there's the sound of insects and cicadas, but it's almost like they've lowered the volume out of respect.
I'm just gonna sort of look down, weighing the phone in my hand, sort of solemnly. Well, I guess so far the theory rings true. We should, I don't know what we should do, but
What we
parties.
need to do is research various death rites between our pantheon's religions, and we should hold a wake for both Teddy and Moira.
That is exactly what we should do.
I think the whole time Coda has kind of just been like quiet and like tapping her foot a little bit. And then she's gonna kind of walk away for a moment while everyone's talking about stuff like this and like start swinging her bat at one of the trees.
Sarah's just gonna nod and stand back in case of any flying debris.
I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to turn and walk over to her and just put a gentle hand on her shoulder. Coda.
Yep.
It's okay. I know it's not, actually.
No, it's
I know
not.
it doesn't feel like it. I know this is terrible and we have been launched into a terrible life, but we have to do the best that we can and live with what we have and try to be happy with it for their sake, for all the people who have given up for us to be here and who have given up for other people to be where they need to be, dwelling on things and being outraged. It does them no good. We should respect the sacrifices they've made.
But it wasn't a sacrifice, though. She was killed. You know,
She was killed.
Was Teddy a sacrifice too? No, Teddy was killed. We can't do anything about it, or we're trying to do anything about it, and we don't even know where to go. So we're just sitting here talking to people as days are passing, and 4 or 5 days pass, and another person, one of us, has died. And what are we going to do about this? We don't know what to do. And we're just here twiddling our thumbs trying to figure out how to pray about them after they've gone. But what is praying going to do? Nothing. We need to go and find these things and kill them or do whatever. I hate sitting here and not being able to do something.
I understand. And you're right. But we can still do something. And you're right about Teddy. But you're wrong about Moira. She did sacrifice in order to help other scions like us who weren't aware of what they were get to safety so that they potentially in the future do some good, do some real good, just like we have the potential to do soon. We're on this quest. We're meant to do something. And the best way we can fulfill that is to do the best thing we can to honor them, and that's live. Not just survive, live.
You
It
all,
sucks.
during this conversation, you all climb into your car and start driving. Lafayette is the closest place, but if you really wanted to, you could make it to Atlanta within a few hours.
Driver's call on that. If we should stop in Lafayette or head straight for Atlanta.
Yeah, if there's driving again, then she will drive all the way through to Atlanta and won't stop till they get into a very populous zone where they could stay at a hotel.
Okay. You guys make it to downtown Atlanta. It's too late to really hit up, libraries and things like that. Everywhere's pretty much closed by the time you get there. You are able to get dinner, much needed dinner. You're able to check into a fairly decent hotel. You guys have enough money that while this isn't something you could do every night, one night you could splurge for a hotel that's kind of downtown in the middle of everything. Which you hope will provide you some measure of protection from your pursuers. And then I'm gonna, as much as I love the role play, we still have things to do. You guys call it a night. I'm assuming the girls are in one room and the guys are in the other again.
Yeah.
Yep.
You're even able to get one of those little suites that connects with a door in between. And in the morning, you wake up. What's the plan? Atlanta's a big place. There's lots and lots of, there's plenty of libraries. There's colleges here. There's museums. There's all kinds of places you could go. And you've got time to kill.
What traveling exhibits do the museums have?
Even or odd?
Odd.
Nothing Greek. There is one that's Egyptian, though.
Yeah, Sarah is going to show like the banner online to Coda and just say, "Oh my gosh, I remember going to these as a kid and they are the coolest thing in the world. We should go."
Sure. I mean, yay, let's totally go to this exhibit. I'm excited to go to it.
She'll just roll her eyes and, get ready for the day.
What a,
See if the guys are interested as well.
What a typical young person
Sure.
answer.
Let's go.
Well, if we're all going, then sure. I think it would not be wise to split off from the group.
Okay. Apologies. You guys leave the hotel. You check out, you tuck your bags and stuff into your car. Oh no, wait, you wouldn't check out because you've got to be there for the day after. So you leave your stuff in your hotel room, take the important stuff with you, and head out for the day. Thankfully, the museum is not far from your hotel, so it doesn't necessitate driving, which is great because the traffic in Atlanta downtown is ridiculous. And as you are walking through this kind of nicer area with little trees, planted between the sidewalk and the street, and these nice clean buildings and everything, I would like Kris and Oliver specifically to both give me perception awareness. Oliver, you get an extra 2 dice.
Ooh. One.
Kris?
7.
Wow. Oliver, you don't see much except that there is a very thick silver braided, it almost looks like a rope connected to Kris's wrist, and it extends kind of off into the distance. Kris, as you are walking, your eyes are instinctively drawn to a food truck in this little park space nearby. And there is a woman standing in front of it with long ashen blonde hair, gold eyes. She's wearing normal clothes, but you know who it is.
I'll head over.
I'll follow Kris.
This way.
I see this silver thread and I want to know more.
Okay. Is anybody else going?
Can we see the guys leaving us?
Oh, yeah. You're
Okay.
very well aware that they've just hard turned off the road or off the sidewalk into this little park area.
Sarah would just be like, hey, and then half jog after them.
Hang on. Something feels like I have to go this way.
And then I saw something fate-related connecting to Kris, so I thought I should go too.
You're just gonna let us keep walking?
I was a little distracted.
Yeah, me too. Sorry.
Goodness. Coda will follow too.
You all approach. Artemis, tell them how you're dressed.
Today I am dressed in just like regular blue jeans. I have a kind of a chic leather jacket on and a white with gold trimmed little blouse underneath. My hair is also done up in a high ponytail.
You all walk up, and as you get close enough for everybody to like really like see her, you guys can Oliver, you could see the glow on this woman. She is radiant, like she is standing or has been carved out of like pure moonlight in the middle of the day. Sarah and Coda, you guys can feel a sense of importance and power rippling off of her. But this is not someone you've ever seen before. Kris seems to know her, though.
When we get up close, I'll kind of incline my head like I'm bowing, but obviously I'm in the middle of the public and it would be weird. And I'll just say, my lady.
Kris, it has been a while since I've seen you last. I'm getting everyone food, don't worry. And at this point, I start haggling hard with the man in the truck, even throwing in like some Greek, because this man seems to be legitimate.
Oh, he
despite
is.
being in America.
He is obviously a native son of your homeland, and he haggles with you. But not in that insulted that you are trying to haggle with him. He almost seems excited. Like, nobody in America haggles like this. Not over stuff like food.
Mm-hmm.
They just pay what you ask for, and you're like the first person, and you've got the accent, and it's like he just knows.
It is very enthusiastic on both parts.
I understand everything being said, right? Because of
You do.
Monocle.
You do.
I'm just enjoying the show then.
But eventually he relents and you win. You don't talk him down a ton, but you do manage to get a what you feel is a much more reasonable price. Or enough food for 5 people.
I also stress with him to make it authentic, and I order a cup of coffee, authentic Greek coffee. And
He seems borderline insulted that you think that it would be anything else. As he turns back and starts like whipping up your order.
I kind of address everyone at this point. I'm like, best Greek food in America.
This man specifically?
Yes. Oddly enough.
I'll take your word for it.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to meet all of you. I understand you've all been missing for a couple of days, and I've been wanting to touch base with Kris. I assume you all know who I am at this point, yes?
They probably don't, my lady.
Well, context clues, so I'm going to go with Artemis.
Yes.
Pleasure.
Coda's gonna mutter under her breath, she is hot.
Artemis actually looks over to Coda and bites her bottom lip a little bit.
My lady.
Come, let us sit down. They will bring the food out to us.
Oh shit, is that lamb?
Yeah.
I was like, lamb.
Yes. Well, there should be an assortment. I would say try the Dalmates. They are my favorite.
Well, chill. Coda will eat whatever.
Look, it's not an unknown fact that I would do, well, murder for a decent rack of lamb, so this meal is very much appreciated, Lady Artemis.
Of course, you may find that as you have awakened, your appetites grow a little bit.
You have. You absolutely have. When you're not so upset that it is difficult to get yourself to eat, you have all found that you are burning through quite a few calories every day.
I didn't want to break it up just in case it was only me.
I do gesture to one of the picnic tables though, because it's a food truck, right? I'm sure it's super busy, but there's a table that just managed to sit all of us. So,
as you all go to sit at the table, it takes a moment for any of you to notice, but the wood seems almost silvery white and a little too clean to be a picnic table that's just in a public park like this.
I heard about the attack on you all recently and how together, you, Kris, Oliver, hit a Fenris wolf in one shot, killed it. Incredible.
Your Cyan was the one with the bow.
It was your idea, though.
You would have figured it out.
It is good to have people, hunters that work with you well. It is good to use your brain in situations like that and not just your brawn. And I would commend you all on your contributions, from what I understand of what happened.
It was definitely interesting and cool to not immediately be dying and running for our lives. So that was cool. If only we can take out whatever lady was there too, but she got away.
The hunt continues. Sometimes it's not so easy.
No.
And I suppose for someone like you, that's what makes it more entertaining.
I suppose. Sometimes the hunt ends as well, whether the quarry is felled or if you just decide to let it go.
I think we're still trying to figure out which to do.
Yes, I imagine that it's not going to be clear at first, but in time and guidance, you will be able to find your way.
How much time, though? People are dying. Important people. People, I guess, important to us are dying. I prefer they died more than we did.
I don't know. Practice and, like I said, working together will help you. Trust each other.
Help us how? Give us tips, advice, information.
I mean, I could sit here forever telling you all about the nuances of using a bow or tracking someone down, which is probably helpful, but not immediately what you might need.
And what do we need?
That's not really a question that I can answer. What
We
do
need-
you need?
We need a next stop. We need to know where next. I mean, we know
Yeah.
who we're meeting with next, but we're wondering what next.
What next? I don't know. Well, first of all, we are going to enjoy food, and at this point, the food arrives, and Artemis will lay it out for everyone. But there is a bag that she sets aside, and just kind of looks kind of scowly about it, and says, "As I do not bring that home for Apollo, he will bitch nonstop."
You're not wrong.
I do apologize for being obtuse, but it's hard. I am to understand that you all went to see a seer recently. I don't know what was said, but were there any leads created from that visit?
Something about ancients wanting to rule again and that we need to slow them down.
Nah,
Yeah.
Titans.
We were wondering if it was Titans or something else.
I got told that I've got to choose between you and Loki, I think.
Well, if I may say so, I believe you've already made that choice, have you not?
I have.
That is curious, then. Sierras are an interesting bunch. Perhaps it's more on a different level and less direct than you might think.
Oh, I don't doubt that for a moment. Why make things easy when you can come up with something cryptic, am I right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, believe me, the Fates are, they are a wonderful bunch. I think those women work together to make our lives miserable. Oh, she knocks on wood at this point, like, please don't let them hear me kind of vibes.
Yeah, probably.
Put my
Yeah.
jacket a little bit closer to my body. Hide the book.
They said something my mom went up against at some point is going to rise back up and its children's going to come out of the sand and I have to put it back to sleep. Don't really know too much about that, so hopefully this exhibit will give me the knowledge I need about creatures rising out of the sand in Egypt or something.
Artemis, you don't know a ton about the Pasaget's stuff. The different pantheons have kind of made it a point to stay out of each other's business as much as possible. But you do know that Bastet has, on more than one occasion, been something of a seer for her own pantheon. Not so much like a proper oracle like the Sybil that they went to see, but way back when the gods could a little bit more readily interact with the world and fates, because myth and magic were kind of a normal Tuesday for the world. It was not uncommon for Bastet to get information that nobody else had, and nobody's entirely sure how. So the assumption is that she was some sort of a seer.
I am not totally familiar with what your mother has been up to over the years. We know each other. We are on friendly terms, but it's not something I have inquired about. Though I will say that she is likely the one that knows the most about the situation.
Great. So I should talk to her, I guess.
You would also be pretty keenly aware, just from being able to look at all of them, Artemis, that Coda might have a much more direct line to her mother than she remembers. And it's literally sitting next to her at the table and occasionally stealing food off of her plate when she's not paying attention.
I tilt my head at the cat and just say, you have an easy way to get in contact with her, you know.
Yeah, the cat telephone. Just feels weird not talking directly to it. Yep, yeah. Yep. Okay, cool.
Do you want me to go let her know that you need to talk to her?
Yes, please. I mean, yes, please. The first time she said it out loud, and then she corrected herself and then said it in her head.
Okay. I'm gonna be gone for a little while, but I'll find you.
Okay, be safe, please.
You get a little meow and a that thing that cats do where he kind of like hops up on the table and like leans in and like bumps you with his head.
Mm-hmm.
And then like nuzzles his cheek up against yours, and then he turns and jumps off the table and darts off into the bushes. Headed for parts unknown.
With a face full of food, Sarah's just gonna say, damn, my dad just gave me his email.
What?
Yeah, a business card with, like, you know, an email and a phone number.
Parents are so weird.
To be fair, I didn't give Kris anything really to contact me with. Sorry.
To be more fair, you did come down to visit him once you realized he was gone for a couple of days, so...
I just smile and look over at the food truck.
Or you came for the most amazing Greek food in the world. And we also just happened to be here.
And it was a kind of a duo trip. Also, it's been a while since I stretched my legs. It gets stuffy in Mountain Olympus.
Couldn't tell you. But, you know,
Yeah.
we've been driving around in the car for a couple of days, so...
Overbearing father. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I don't want to take up too much of your time. I know you're all busy. Kris, you
Ma'am.
sound as though, to some degree, you regret.
I sound like I have regrets.
A little bit, little tiny bit.
No, I don't have any regrets about accepting your lineage at all. I wish I didn't have to give up my old heritage, but I don't have any regrets upon being your Cyan.
That's the wonderful thing, though. I have never asked you to give up your previous family. They are who you are at your core. They are part of you.
They just seemed when we were speaking to the Sybil that she mentioned something. And now you said earlier that I don't have to take this literally, but, you know, that's the only way I've got to take it at the moment.
Maybe something will happen that you do not expect.
Well, that is part of the hero's journey, right?
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, if I may use a cliche that's no doubt going to get a groan for some people, you have my bow.
Oh my god.
Right? I knew it. See? Told you. But no, glibness aside, I meant it when I said that I will be a Cyan. You've got me, and I will do my best to prove myself worthy to you.
If I may bring something up, are you aware of the trials of Heracles?
Not as much as I feel I should be. It's not really within my wheelhouse. Maybe I can tap up Oliver for information.
Yeah, I kind of look over at Oliver.
I look up after things have gone a bit silent. Sorry, I was in my own head for a bit. What?
I was asking if any of you knew about the trials of Heracles.
The Disney movie.
Yes, it's. Yes, I know about the trials of Heracles. I don't remember all of them, but I know a good deal of them.
Well, depending on which version you know, I will tell you as I know the real one. Man was stricken with madness, killed his family, and went to atone for it. He went on a whole hero's journey in order to make up for the sins he had committed. That's just how fate works. And the fact that you've all kind of already discovered that is actually a good start.
It was a guess, but I guess that seemed to be correct.
You're about to embark on your own trials, so to speak. It's a good start that you don't kill your wife and children, though.
Right.
Noted.
Need those first, but
Yeah,
yes,
don't. Yeah.
avoid that.
Maybe one day people will tell tales of our own exploits.
Oh, they will, and from what I understand, they already do. The reason I am here right now is because I heard a story about you two, and I point again at Kris and Oliver, one-shotting a Fenris wolf.
Wince a little bit.
Look over at Oliver and kind of mug at him a little bit and go, well, you know, I don't think that either of us could have done it on our own. It was a team effort. But that's what makes it work, right? We work well as a team.
Exactly.
Pretty legendary.
Also kind of opens up the idea that modern warfare is especially effective against supernatural creatures.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
I kind of
Sarah.
lift my hand and do like a kind of gesture.
It was sort of a combination between modern and guerrilla warfare.
True.
Sarah also stopped one of the wolves with just a single word.
Which is also incredible.
Yeah, I'm trying to spread the word about our group. Beige and confused.
And that's us.
Could everybody but Artemis, who does not need to roll this because Artemis, could everybody else roll me perception awareness? Oliver, you get another 2 dice.
Alrighty.
Eight.
None.
Including my epic 8.
Nice.
With my epic 1.
With my epic 2.
Good lord. Well, most of you are too busy eating to notice. Kris notices, and Artemis obviously notices, a bike messenger comes coasting in on this brilliant, almost silvery blue multi-speed bike. It's got the kind of tires that are made for like city and road riding. And there is a young man on the back of it. He is thin, but not skinny. He looks like he's got the kind of musculature that you would expect from a runner or a swimmer. His hair is Not quite as pale as Artemis is, but... Well, I shouldn't say not quite as pale. It's not quite as blonde as Artemis is. It's more almost white. And it's barely peeking out from underneath of a helmet, and you can Kris, with your keen eyes, you can see little wings painted onto the side of the helmet.
Okay.
And he's wearing like a t-shirt that says Sandals Delivery Service.
He's not wearing Nikes, is he?
He is not wearing Nikes. He is wearing like sandals, but they look like athletic sandals. And you can just kind of barely see that the straps actually disappear up underneath of the pants that he's wearing. Like they go up much higher than one would expect. And rather than going over to one of the food trucks in the area, he is kind of beelining straight for you guys and stops rather abruptly at the table.
Hey.
Hey. Kris, right?
Yeah, that's me.
How you doing?
Good. How can I help you?
Man, there's just all kinds of stories about you up at home, and well, I had to make a delivery anyway, and I figured I'd stop by. Hey, and he'll kind of up nod at Artemis.
Artemis?
So this is the boy, huh?
This is him, yes.
Well, let me be the first, I don't know, part of the divine welcome wagon, and he'll kind of like throw a hand out, like not like a proper shake, but like that half high five, half shake that guys do. Hermes, God of Messengers, how you doing?
It's an honor to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Man, Fenris Wolf in one shot. Damn, takes after you. And he's looking over at Artemis.
Oh, no, it was a group effort, it wasn't just down to me.
Yeah, I heard this one is really fucking clever.
He is.
Looking at Oliver.
I think you're here for Kris. I don't.
I heard that about you too. We've got to work on that, my dude. Like, it is just not somebody teach this boy some swagger. He needs some swagger.
Make him say the word fuck.
You're not going to. It's just you got one out of me, and that's all you'll be getting.
I can try.
We just want him to.
He looks kind of enthused at the idea.
I don't like that expression.
Oliver, I think he's flirting with you.
Looks like Oliver's like shutting down. Confused. Windows are rebooting.
Oliver, my boy, you've gotta like let go of all this self-doubt and this crawling and curling in on yourself bullshit. Come on, man. You're one of the divine. You've got Ichor going through your veins. You literally can read fate in a book. Like, do you have any idea how crazy that shit is?
I like to imagine as Hermes is just going off, Artemis will pick up a dolmade, put it on like a little napkin underneath it, and try to feed it to him as he's talking.
Hermes? Oh yeah, no, he's taking it. He'll like lean over and occasionally take a bite. Give you an appreciative little smile. Out of the men in your pantheon, there are a couple who have never like tried anything with you. Hermes is among them. He's always been very respectful and kind of playful instead.
Mm-hmm. Also that kid brother vibe, even though I have a kid brother, but the actual kid brother is his piece of work.
He is. Oliver, come on, man. Stand up. Come on, get up. Off your ass. Get up.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna stand up awkwardly.
And he's gonna kind of like walk around you, pause long enough to take another bite, walk around you again, and he's gonna go behind you and put his hand like square in the middle of your back and like push forward while pulling your shoulders back. Chest out. Come on.
Well, all right.
Now
It's
chin
out.
up.
Okay.
All right. There's that jawline your dad's known for. Come on, man. You're like well, maybe not a master of fate yet, but you will be if you keep it up. You've gone to see an oracle, and you've only been at this for, well, I guess now that you've missed a few days, like 2 weeks. You can say fuck. You've got all of that divine gravity behind you. Just say it. It feels good.
I don't think it will.
I promise it'll feel amazing.
I'll take your word
Go on,
for
man.
it.
Listen,
You really want to.
you do it, or I'm gonna make you.
How exactly? Like, are you going to torture me because I would rather you didn't?
Nah, man. I'm a god. I don't have to work that hard.
Then
If I
Just
can make
say it once.
Hades say fuck, you can say fuck. Come on.
Just say it once, man. We never ask you again.
I
I don't agree to that, but yeah.
Say fuck, say fuck, say fuck, say fuck, say fuck, say fuck, say fuck.
no.
Oliver.
Hmm?
Roll me a wits and integrity.
Take it. All right. All right. 7. Or 7 dice, not 7 successes. 2 successes.
Yeah, not even close. So he kind of like rolls his eyes after, but he goes, "All right, well, I asked nicely," and then he sort of like steps up on you, and he is suddenly the most intimidating person you have ever seen. Like, nothing about him physically has changed. He still looks like a jovial kid, like he might be net sage. But he goes, "Say fuck," and like you can't. It's just there's no stopping it.
Fuck.
There we go. See? Feel better?
No. That was terrifying.
Well, I asked you to do it nicely. Your dad'll be proud. He's a good guy. He'll get it.
Oh.
Now you've gotten the first one out of the way. It's like ripping off a band-aid. The rest of them should come naturally.
Sure.
All you needed was a little divine laxative.
Don't use that terminology, please.
Ew.
I mean, it's accurate.
Well, take the stick out of your ass and I won't have to.
I'm a relaxed person.
No, you are not. You are the most tightly wound person I have ever seen. That one is...
Okay, Google, what does relax mean?
You see that one, and he'll point at Kris. That one's relaxed.
Yeah, man.
I can be relaxed.
I don't know if you're capable, but we'll try.
One day, dude.
When you're honestly relaxed, you'll be able to drop the F-bomb without it hurting so damn much.
Are you done traumatizing them, Hermes?
It's traumatizing me.
Yeah, I should probably get going. We hang out in one spot for too long and people are going to notice. Listen, I actually had a reason for being here. Got a call from your friend Net. She said her friend that you need to meet is at this address, and he'll pull out like a manila envelope and hand it to Kris.
Thank you. I'll open
it. Let me get away from here. Again.
Wait, Hermes, if you're going home, this is for Apollo.
Oh. All right, fine. I'll put it on your tab, and he'll take it.
Thank you.
Sorry.
You know I don't like seeing him after he slept with my girlfriend.
I do. All right. Well, nephew, and he'll look at Kris.
Smile and nod.
Hope the Botar treats you well. That was a hell of a delivery to make. It's kind of heavy. But y'all have a good night or day. This is day. It's so weird seeing you during the day. And he'll just sort of shake his head and climb back on his bike.
As soon as he's gone, I'm going to point a finger around the table. That did not count.
You know what? It
Yes,
didn't.
it did.
No,
It
I
did.
don't think it did. He didn't say it of his own
did.
volition.
Yeah,
Exactly.
It's gotta
Thank you,
come
Kris.
natural. It's gotta
Thank
come
you.
natural.
It's
Does
got to
not
come
count.
natural. Doesn't count.
Oh, okay. I see what you guys.
But it was nice to hear it, though.
It was.
You kind of look
Yeah.
a little bit taller now. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, your jaw's a bit squarer as well.
That was terrifying.
Maybe a little bit of a 5 o'clock shadow, or
Yeah.
I already have. Okay.
Is that a rip on your elbow patch thing?
Wait, what? No.
whoa.
I immediately look.
Some kind of pre-epic glee going on here.
Yeah, there's a teeny tiny little rip on your elbow patch.
Oh, gotta get a new one now or fix this.
Uh,
Or I could not. I'm relaxed. I don't care.
Dude,
I
have
say
you
so.
ever been relaxed? Come on.
I'm very relaxed when I'm reading.
Right. And when was the last time you did that?
Well, I haven't had much opportunity to use physical
Mm-hmm.
books recently, but we've been listening to the audiobooks in the car. Speaking of which, I think the next one we should do is Absalom by
No.
William Faulkner. No, okay.
At this point, Artemis has drained her coffee and just kind of stands up and says, I should be away as well, but you know what, Scions? Treasure these moments. They are nice to have between, well, your duty. It is good to have each other.
Yes, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, I just kind of leave, and I give the truck, the food truck, a little wave before I go.
He waves back. Despite the fact that he was like sounded very angry and ranty to everybody else as he was cooking, and that he sounded so insulted by the request that he make the food authentically. You all notice that he looks just pleased as punch when Artemis waves, like she's his favorite fucking customer. And you guys watch as she like heads out of the park and back towards the street to where a motorcycle you hadn't noticed before is sitting, and it's this gorgeous, sleek, like mother of pearl and silver chopper.
Yeah, your mom's really hot.
And nice.
She is nice, yeah. Stepmom.
Right.
Adopted mom.
I enjoyed
Adopted
her
mom.
company far more than Hermes.
I enjoyed that company too.
That's lovely for the rest of you. Lovely.
Well, gonna open the envelope.
Oh,
Kris.
yeah, let's do that.
Kris, on the envelope is an address. When you key it into your phone, it's on the outskirts of Atlanta, in a not even on the outskirts. It's outside of Atlanta city limits in what you realize is a much more rural area. And the little note under it says, "Look for the fireflies." As if that will explain everything, because when you put it into your GPS, it just shows you like following a highway and then kind of turning off onto no road at all. It's got you driving through a field.
Okay. And that's written on the envelope, right?
On the paper inside of the
On
envelope.
the paper inside, okay. Does it have a time that we need to be there?
It's like sundown.
Okay.
It talks about going at twilight.
If I look on my phone and GPS, how long does it say it's going to take us to get there?
Not long, like an hour, maybe 2. You've got all day before
Okay.
you need to think about leaving. Which gives you guys the time to head to the what's it called? The place you were going before.
Exhibit?
Museum.
The museum. Thank you. The M word. Words are hard.
Look, the most important part about the museum is that we are able to get like little dog tags that have all of our names written in Egyptian on them.
Oh, cool.
Oh, I can actually verify if that's true or not, or if it's just random hieroglyphs.
Oh, that's even cooler.
It also might be that the last time I went there, I was 8.
Okay. You guys finish up the food that's left, clear off the table, and turn to head out of the park. As you are throwing things away and you turn to kind of glance back, maybe Coda looking for her cat, you realize that you don't see the table that you were sitting at anymore.
What was there? What's in the space where the table was?
Just empty space.
Okay.
But nobody else seems to notice. You all head off to the museum. The exhibit is pretty it's pretty basic. It's a lot of stuff that was like uncovered from like a burial site. There's examples of canopic jars. There's like carvings that had like fallen off of walls. There's some statuary, a sarcophagus or two, that sort of thing. You do find the little stand outside of the gift shop that Sarah mentioned, where they will give you little dog tags that supposedly say your name. Does everybody order one?
I'd like to
Yeah.
verify if it's true or not, see what they actually say.
Yeah, but of course.
Right. So you all order them, and they get handed over to you. Oliver, you realize first of all that none of the names that are being used here were names that existed way back in the day. So the translations would be rough to begin with. But you didn't quite expect them to be this rough. In fact, you're pretty sure that Sarah's says cup or something very close to it. Kris's might say rice.
And what about my own and Coda's?
Yours says rock or stone. And Coda's says bird. Or bird is as close as you can get. It's not spelled properly. But it's as close as you can come up with it. It looks more like there's just a collection of random words that they are telling people are their names, or somebody is just genuinely can't translate.
I'm gonna kind of hold these, nod approvingly. Yes, these all seem completely correct to me. Here you go, Miss Cup. Bird, Here you go. And what did you say Chris's was?
Rice.
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 And rice, here you are.
Rice. Cool.
Oh, bird.
I always thought I felt a strange kinship with the same, dishes that we drink out of.
I'll hold my own. Would you rather be rock?
No.
I think it's fate that we got these names. So let's just stick with the ones we have, because who knows? This may be the next puzzle piece in our hero's journey or
It's
some
true.
shit.
It's that's not wrong. Like, it could be a password to open something for all we know.
Yeah.
Or it's just poorly done
Oh, come on.
jewelry.
We're trying to have fun here.
Yeah.
No fun is allowed. None.
God damn it.
Now, hold on, Miss Baxter. I'm supposed to be the one who ruins fun, apparently. That's my job.
Well, it is a burden we can share.
Bird.
I suppose that's fair.
Question: does literally anything stick out in this place to me, or is it just a very cheap exhibit?
No, it's so okay. First of all, when I say that it's
Not
standard,
cheap, but yeah.
when I say that it's standard, it's not cheap. Like, this is all real.
Yeah.
This probably cost that museum a very pretty penny to lease from whoever owns it.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, when you guys were looking through, there is a plaque that specifically says that it is on loan from like the insert fancy name that's basically like like an official Egyptian historical society.
Mm-hmm.
Or
So
probably
it's
the
been
British
brought,
Museum.
It's been brought to the U.S. So,
Let's face it, it's probably going to be the British Museum because they seem to have stolen everything ever in the history of antiquity.
yeah,
What?
that's
They
fair.
didn't steal it, they found it.
Sorry, quote unquote, fine.
That's very fair. It's all very real. Actually, I would like everybody to roll. Does anybody have the death purview?
No.
Okay, then I would
No.
like everybody to roll me wits awareness. Oliver, you have 3 extra dice for this.
Did you say wits awareness?
Yes.
Does my subliminal warning knack come into play?
More, you get a tingle at the back of your senses, but it doesn't feel like you're about to be ambushed or anything like that.
Okay.
It's just that there is something about this that is different.
So I don't get the extra dice that would give me?
No.
Okie doke.
3 from me.
I got 7. My epics.
Okay.
I have 5.
God damn, Kris.
8 again because of my epic wits. Jesus Christ.
Jesus. Oliver, you can tell that there is power on a lot of these items. Like, it radiates with it, and there are obvious signs of fate having influence here. But you're in a museum that is filled with things from various parts of the world and antiquity. It's hard for you to cut through the jumble of information and input that you get in this place. Like, you're actually a little overwhelmed. You're overstimulated. You can tell that these things have power and that they're special, but you aren't entirely sure which pieces exactly and what exactly they can do. However, those of you who Coda, you got 5?
Yeah.
You feel particularly drawn to the sarcophagus. Like, some deep-seated part of you is like, this belonged to someone who was even more important than the mortals around me realize. And there's a small part of you that wonders if maybe this might have actually been a Cyan.
Okay.
Those of you who got 6 and above can feel a sense of tension and waiting in the air. Like, everything in this place is waiting for something to happen or some time to roll around. Like, there is energy or maybe spirits or or something beyond the physical that exists in this place but can't act until later. And it's just waiting for the time that it can.
Do I see Coda go up to the sarcophagus?
Uh-huh.
I'd like to step up next to her. Do you get something from this? Because I'm getting something from basically everything.
I don't know. I feel like whatever was in here was more important. I don't know. It feels connected, not to us, but like us. Like maybe another Scion that died ages ago.
Well, let's see if we can find out some more. I'm going to pull out the Tome of Stories, flip through it, and cast Unlidded Eye.
Okay.
Which normally just shows me invisible magic and also tells me if someone's a Scion or not, but for story, I want to see if I can get more information by using it.
So normally this would be useful for someone who's alive. However, as you cast Unlidded Eye, you're looking down at this book in your arms like it's a reference guide that you're reading from. And when you look back up at the sarcophagus, you can see faint, old lines of magic. And it's actually in what looks like the paints and the stonework itself. Like whoever carved the sarcophagus was probably they themselves some measure of divine or supernatural. If this wasn't a Scion, it was someone incredibly important to Scions of the gods. Because this would have taken a lot of time, a lot of power, and a lot of intent. And now that you are looking around with this spell active, you can see different kinds of power, like residual power, auras. At one point, you catch what you think is a person walking by in like kind of white, not quite robes, but like a almost like a white skirt with like a gold belt and no shirt. You catch it out of the corner of your good eye, and when you turn to look, they're gone. Yeah, most things in this place have some semblance of power, some semblance of magic, but the sarcophagus in particular. And kind of squinting to read some of the hieroglyphics. Through the glass, it's a little difficult. You can see that whoever was inside of this was a daughter of Horus. Well, it says she was blessed by Horus is basically what it says, but you can kind of put two and two together and figure out that it was probably a Scion.
Right, well, didn't get anything straight-laced and specific, but I do know that this sarcophagus was made by someone very powerful, likely a Scion or potentially a god themselves or some form of supernatural, and it was meant to keep a Scion of Horus within. I don't know if it was meant as containment or as protection or what, but it's definitely very powerful. Knew more than I don't know.
Guess another thing for me to ask my mom about. She's gonna take her phone out and try to take a picture of the sarcophagus.
You go to take your picture and you barely manage to get the picture. The you hear the shutter click in your phone, and then a security guard comes over. Ma'am, no pictures.
Oh, right. Sorry.
Yep. You guys sort of wrap up your time, and you are about to leave. And as you are walking back out of the exhibit, Coda, you pass by what looks like a reproduction of a like rib tall like Sphinx statue. Like it was just literally just made to be decoration at the entrance.
Mm-hmm.
And you're about to walk by it, not thinking anything of it. It's one of the only things that doesn't really give this place any sense of gravity to you. And you swear you see its eyes open. And that's where we're going to call it for the night. You guys have a lovely night. Thank you for joining us. We will see you next Friday. Same time, same place. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bar.
Bye.